And audio.
All right. Good evening, Magic Fish Radio. I don't know who else is watching this. I don't think there's too many right now. But we'll be continuing our playthrough of Cerebos. We were informed at break last time of the actual pronunciation of that, so we'll just have to suck it up for that. Um, Hopefully, we'll be finishing the game this session. We have 4 travelers on their way to Cerebos, the Crystal City. Currently, there is a train, a rather old fashioned train, parked at the Bone Chapel. The Bone Chapel offers something for everyone, be they sculptors or historians. Other visitors may also find materials of interest, but the helpful ghosts who maintain the collection would be perplexed to encounter someone who is neither one nor the other. Surely, at a fundamental level, everyone is either a sculptor or a historian. The heart of the Bone Chapel's collection consists of books and genealogical records, shelved amid blue-veined transite sculptures of rotting bodies, ribs and shins exposed to the sepulchral air. The chapel ghosts keep the sculptures stocked with surprises to enliven even the dustiest research. Observed heart is common, but a sleeping bat will do in a pinch. It's said that these sculptures often bear designs or faces familiar to travelers, but they are all quite old. As we come into the day, we see 4 travelers step off the train in pairs. One is a young lady in a gray Victorian dress. In her hand, she holds a very old silver pocket watch, well maintained, ticking merrily. Her companion is, I believe, a man in a business suit, or at least it appears to be a man in a business suit. Meanwhile, from the first class cars steps a woman with a severe bun and a down to earth clothing choice, and a general dripping with medals. They step off as the train relaxes into place with a final hiss and sends a cloud of steam up from the pressure brakes, ruffling everyone's hats and clothing. Players, please introduce yourselves. Let's start with the Lady Doctor.
Sure. The lady doctor is a woman in sensible dress, and a handbag, and sorry, a carpet bag, and a fairly severe bun that is currently still up. You can see a glint of a elegant pen at her lapel, and or in her pocket. Uh, there's some other keepsake she's still holding on to. I don't know what it is. Oh, and she's clearly carrying around a fair amount of money and not worrying about these things, but
Yes.
possibly is holding it back.
All right. Zardoz.
I am playing the Arab Devastation. The Arab Devastation is a fairly plain-looking gentleman who could be anyone. Could be the man next to you, could be the man on the street. He's dressed simply, wearing an old suit. It looks like it's been through better days. He still has a photograph in the inside pocket of his jacket, and he's got a silver band wrapped around his wrist.
General.
The general is indeed wearing her military jacket with all its medals. She has a sword by her hip, and she's carrying a book that's in a code no one else can read. She is also still smiling with the satisfaction of certain snubs she gave to one of the more odious passengers in first class, and has started having dreams of a new life on oily shores.
And Chris.
I am playing the Clockwork Ghost, a modest looking woman in gray Victorian traveling clothes, jacket, and dress. She has a silver gear ring that she keeps playing with, an embroidered cat handkerchief, and weirdly enough, a perfume bottle that seemed to help stop the train from turning into not a train during a previous threat. I am the only player so far to not have a flashback. We're the only
Okay.
character so far to not have a flashback.
We're gonna have to fix that someday.
Indeed.
Also, chat, we're having some audio issues, so please don't hesitate to tell us if you can't hear us. There are at least
Okay.
7 of you in there. Somebody say something. Put my mind at ease.
So, for the people at home and for the players who may have forgotten, would the smartly dressed woman close your eyes? Okay, we have the smartly dressed woman, and that
Also known
is
as
her
the Lady
goal.
Doctor.
Lady
The Lady Doctor, yeah.
And that is her goal.
Yes, we each have a goal that everyone knows about but us. It is secret to ourselves.
Yep. All right. General. Lady Doctor, open your eyes. General, close your eyes.
Yep.
All right. Pardon me while I casually find another piece of paper.
Keep your eyes closed.
This should.
I'll have to do. All right. So. All right, and that is the general.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Everyone remembers? All right. Clockwork Ghost, please close your eyes.
Okay, you're good now.
I'm good now.
Yep, General can open them.
Yep.
All right, okay. Shit. Really casually. All right. Everyone's read it. All right, Clockwork Ghost, you can open your eyes. In the Hour of Devastation, close your eyes. There are probably better ways I could have done this, but I didn't want to use too much paper. It says immediately use a bunch of paper. Okay. There we go. All right. Everyone read it?
Yep. I forgot.
Alrighty. Hour, you may open your eyes. Now we are all reminded. So, we have come to a stop. The first stop in our journey.
Channel points?
Channel points, yes. Channel points. For everyone who has channel points, instead of random NPC drops this evening, we've replaced that with silly accents that I can do. Well, silly accents, straight up. I'll try and do them. No guarantees of quality. But because on the train, there are only the people who the players need to be there. The characters need to see and interact with people on the train. And a giant chicken in a suit isn't someone they need to talk to. So everyone on the train serves a purpose eventually for our main characters. So instead of accepting NPC drops, we will be doing stupid accents for the GM.
And we still have channel points game up for if you want to suggest a ship for our suggest a spaceship name for our main campaign, as the party has acquired a spaceship but does not yet know what to name it. So we are taking suggestions, and then we will have a player vote. We do not have any suggestions yet, so feel free to spend them channel points. You know, Vampiric Yoda said he'd be here to spend channel points and annoy Dracus. So I don't know what's going on.
I think he was trying to challenge Dracus to a plus off.
But we don't have the pluses tonight. Okay.
Exactly.
I ruined everything. Whoops.
Ah, well.
All right.
Perhaps he'll show up later. We'll see.
Back to the train.
So, it's the first stop of the journey, and the train has been traveling for quite a while at this point, several days. At the very least, you're pretty sure it's been several days. Things in the desert are a little vague as far as time goes. But the conductor has stepped down off the train now as well, and is currently talking to several young gentlemen who have who appear to run the local fuel up, the water tank and coal reserves at this particular stop. Beyond that rather mundane structure is the Bone Library, as previously described. It's an enormous building uh, made of. It's not marble, you're pretty sure, because you don't think marble comes in quite this yellow, but you're not quite sure what it is made of. Still, I mean, it can't be bone. The columns are, the big Romanesque columns with Ionic collars on them are bigger around than you can hold. That a person can hold. Like, what on earth would have bones the size of that would allow it to be carved into that size of column? And it's all one thing. There are no visible seams. Still, behind the columns are a set of. These are definitely brass doors that currently stand open. Sorry. Beyond them, it's very dim. You can't really see inside at this point because it's so bright outside and so dark inside. But the air flowing from the mouth of the. You're pretty sure it's a library. The sign said library. Is quite cool and smells a little dusty. Who wants to go first?
Me.
All right.
Good idea.
Please be aware that unless someone causes trouble, there will be only one round of stop actions before the train moves on.
Let me bring up stop actions.
What was the danger again? The danger
Danger
level?
4.
Mm.
Danger 4. You cannot rest at this stop until it is danger 2 or lower. And if you leave before it is danger 2 or lower, then it is it's a trait check to get away without taking some sort of damage, whether it be physical or emotional.
All right, What does seize opportunity mean?
Seize opportunity is like engage with event, except
Oh,
you're
okay.
engaging with the with library in this case.
Okay, so I'm going to seize opportunity and walk into the library and look around. I was wondering, wait, can't I just go look at the library? Oh, okay. Seize opportunity.
All right. So you walk into the library. Describe to us what you see.
I see a few nebulous see-through librarians, maybe a
You
bit
can tell the librarians. You can tell the librarians from the hairstyle.
Buns! We like big buns, and we cannot lie. You walk into the library, and it is shaped somewhat like a church, but instead of ribs of wood holding up the ceiling, it is actual giant ribs. And you feel like you're inside a giant echoing rib cage where no heart has beat or no lung has breathed in a very, very long time.
The place is enormous. It's a cathedral of a place. You can hear the whispers echoing from the furthest corner of the building, which is strange considering the number of books that are in the place. It's not just ribs holding up the ceiling. From stacked from floor to ceiling on between each rib are shelves upon shelves of books. Tall ladders made of femurs and tibia stretch from top to bottom, and between each, arranged artistically between each, are the statues, which called transi. Excuse me. Sculptures of rotting bodies, ribs, and shins exposed to the sepulchral air. There are, of course, but the floor is not free of this. There's actually there's a whole first layer that's about 10-foot high shelves stacked from here to the back, and then at various points there are pillars, more of those strange bone, you guess, given the ribs, pillars that are too wide for you to even get your arms around, and they hold up a second layer that is accessible through a set of stairs that have no backs. I'm talking about those kind of very Art Deco planks that are stairs, but there's no backing to them,
Hmm.
so you can trip really easily.
Oh, modern architecture.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
The ghosts don't seem to need the stairs, but you aren't the only patrons there. There seem to be a few people dressed in gray or perhaps just dusty flitting through the shells as well. You can't see them very clearly. Maybe they're just oddly placed statues. How are you going to engage with the event?
Um, well, I'm the
Seize your opportunity.
Seize my opportunity. Well, I am the Clockwork Ghost,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I had another name. Now that we are in a library full of ghosts, I'm going to ask one of the librarians quietly where the card catalog is, and I'm going to search for the term Clockwork Ghost.
Okay. So you go up to one of the sepulchral figures, currently standing on about 2 feet of nothing, and leafing through the books on a shelf. Dust isn't coming down, nothing is being disturbed, but you get the distinct feeling that the librarian is actually rearranging the books as it's going along. Good evening. How can I help you?
Where is the card catalog?
Oh, a wise one, a historian, I see. Interested in the past. Oh, very good. If you would please follow me, I will show you the card catalog. And the ghost starts floating away, still standing on about 2 feet of nothing, but walking along like it's a pretty decent, flat surface, heading straight for the stairs to the second level.
Okay.
You both ascend the stairs. Uh, the ghost walks up the stairs like it's walking on the stairs, but it's still about 2 feet off the ground. You're pretty sure it's forgotten at what height it is at this point. Um, you know,
You're a ghost.
yeah. You manage not to trip by virtue of the stairs being actually pretty shallow for what they are. Not the dramatic sweep, but it's a nice shallow step up even if they have no back. And sure enough, the second level has more shelves, but they're more spaced out, and there are desks between the shelves. And at the very end, it's not against the wall because this is freestanding from all the walls, and it's inset from the walls about you're guessing maybe 5 yards from every wall, at least if not more. And it's pretty wide, but it's not all the way. At the very back of it, you see the card catalog, the massive stacks of you know, desk cabinet, filing cabinets. That's what I want to say. Only, with the little pull out drawers about that big. So you go up and you tries to seize your moment. Can you please roll? What tray are you using?
That's right. I need dice tonight.
Yes, 2d6.
Yes, I have dice. What trait? I would like to roll. She has her little embroidered cat hanky in her hand.
Mm-hmm.
So she will use her trait of curiosity.
All right, roll it.
I've rolled something that isn't a 7. I rolled an 8.
Unfortunately, the tiers are a little, 6 to 8, partial success. Not everything you hope for happens. Either you give it 60% effort, or you get what you want, but something unfortunate also happens. The danger decreases by 1, but there's a cost. Gain 2 momentum or 1 damage. That's why Carbad's got 2 momentum. That's why Sorry. You gain 2 momentum or 1 damage, it's your choice, but you can't choose to gain momentum if the tray is attached to a keepsake. If you've given away the related touchstone, you can't choose to gain momentum if the tray is attached to a keepsake. If you've given away the related touchstone, or you roll without using a trait. The GM or your group may decide that narrative consequences replace the damage or momentum gain.
Okay. And how would I be able to do a reroll?
You can spend 1 rank from the trait, or from another trait, depending on what you think is most applicable.
Mm-hmm.
You spend 1 rank on a trait, and you re-roll 1 die.
Okay. I will use my 1 curiosity trait and reroll 1 die. And I got a 6, so now I have a 10.
Okay, nothing fancy here. You did it. The danger decreases by 1. So, as you shuffle through the card catalog, there is a statue nearby. It's a young man, probably in his 20s. His rib cage is split open, like a bunch of flowers, like the meat has started to fall in towards the spine, like he's lying on the ground, but he's definitely standing up. Uh, the it's starting to slough off his face too. It's kind of like half dripped down his neck. Out of one of his eyes comes a small bat. You probably guess the shuffling disturbed it because they're probably, judging by the dust, nobody's been here in a bit.
Just to reiterate, are these actual rotting corpses, or are they statues of rotting corpses?
These are marble statues of rotting corpses. These are stone statues.
And a bat just happens to be living in his head. They're just...
The librarians like to keep things light, keep it interesting for the people trying to do research, so they put surprises in them. Most of the time it's a mummified heart. Sometimes it's a live bat. In this case, it was a live bat. And it flutters out and flutters around your head, but you just shoo it away, and it flutters off to you know not where. Possibly to fall asleep again and be recaptured by another ghost. So you search through the card catalog, and you find plenty of references to Clockwork, and you find plenty of references to ghosts, possibly even more than Clockwork. But you don't really... The closest approximation you find to a combination of the two is a treatise on mechanical life, automata, thinking automatons, a la the Turing test, that kind of age thing. It references the ghost in the machine repeatedly, but you don't find anything specific to your situation here, or at least nothing that's not familiar in a very broad sense. And my camera's being a dick again. No? You gonna do this to me now? Focus.
I mean, you're playing a ghost NPC.
If it keeps up, I'm just gonna turn it off and on again.
The library, the latest hotspot for soul food. Thank you, Arcane the Sage.
You can't check anything out of the library, but the librarians do have materials for you to copy out relevant passages if you feel it necessary.
I think I will get a copy of this treatise on mechanical life. Who wrote it?
It's written by a guy named Nigma.
Enigma. Okay.
Last name Nigma. The first name's been kind of rubbed away by other people looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't prove I stole it if you didn't read it. All right. So the stop's danger has decreased by 1. Is now a danger 3 stop. Who would like to go next?
I think the general is going to cause trouble.
Oh, damn it. I was going to cause trouble. Go ahead.
Oh, if you want to cause trouble, if you want to cause trouble, go ahead.
No. After you.
Okay.
Glad I got to go. Glad I went first. I'm a librarian in real life. I want to enjoy the creepy library. For a quiet moment with a bat.
Okay.
So I assume that there's...
So what do you do is I think the question. Sorry, Merc, you're running this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you cause trouble? What are you doing to make this train stay here?
So I assume that there is an actual chapel in the Bone Chapel.
Sure, yes. It's far back, tucked against the back wall. The ribs at that point are short. The ceiling is kind of low, but low is relative. It's, at least 20 feet off the ground. You're not sure what died to leave behind this rib cage, but it was, longer than a whale in length. This was a big critter, whatever it was.
The general is going to pray for forgiveness from all the souls that she lost or otherwise killed in battle. And that's going to take some time, and the train will simply have to wait.
So you're arguing the conductor to hold the train for an extra turn?
Yes.
I think she's wandering off, and that's going to make the train hold up an extra turn.
The train doesn't wait for anybody.
I will note that's actually the example in the book.
Yeah, that was what I based it on.
um,
I'm fine arguing with the conductor if you'd rather frame it that way. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, well, if the train will wait for people, then the train will wait for people. That's not the example I'm seeing, but okay. All right. So you're going to hold up the whole thing to pray. Roll 1d6.
Okay. I rolled a 1.
Remove 1 momentum.
I do not, in fact, have any momentum. Can anyone remove a momentum?
just you.
Yep. So you don't have any momentum, but you decided to pray for the souls of all the people you killed or gotten killed
Yes.
because you you bear the ultimate responsibility for the actions that you ordered.
Yes.
Whether or not you personally raised a gun in the entire conflict or not, which you probably have, but
Which I probably have.
That's not as many people as, you lost in countless actions to enemy fire, to other generals' incompetence. Friendly fire is a thing, and it is a bitch. So you holy pray for that, and you feel it's not that they forgive you, because that's not what this chapel is for, and it's not what this journey is for. But you do feel a little bit more at peace because you've reconciled yourself to what happened, and have found a little more peace with the fact that your actions cost lives, but your own life in the future, um, giving your own life in the future would not make up for the ones lost before by your hand. All right, this will cause one more round of stop actions after this one, but nobody can cause trouble again. The second round will be the last. But that does leave the Lady Doctor in the hour of visitation.
Yep. Have you lost many, I say, since the other two have wandered off to the hour of visitation?
Lost? No, I know exactly where I put them.
But you don't miss them then. I miss mine, some of them. This reminds me of them too much. I'm interacting with the event, but it's also role playing.
Are you inside the library then, or are you still at the train station?
Stepping out. We can continue our role playing if you want.
Go right ahead.
I know it doesn't. I don't know that anyone's preceded me here, but it feels like they might have. I'd look around and try to find a glimpse of my own dead. And I will roll. There's obviously a memories of old loves roll. Right, we're rolling 2 dice. Yes.
For you are seizing an opportunity.
I am seizing opportunity.
All right, yeah, roll 2 dice. This is a trait check.
Reconnect with my old past. So that's a 6 to start. That would not be a great number.
Partial success.
It's true. But I will call upon. I'm actually going to call upon the memories of old loves to see if I can get through this. Well, that stayed a 6. I'm gonna actually keep with memories of old loves because that still continues to be appropriate.
Oh, the traits stay. Okay, yeah.
And the numbers drop.
The numbers drop, but the traits always stay.
Yep.
If you run out of them, you just can't use them to reroll. But you still have them. So, what'd you get?
I'm currently at a 7, which is also not a great number. Apparently, this is supposed to be a partial success.
Okay.
Um,
So your choices are.
I would need a 10 to. What full success is how much?
9 to 10 is success. 11 to 12, inspired success.
Yeah, no, I'm going. I think I'm going to hold it at 7.
Okay. So your choices are 2 momentum or 1 damage. What you prefer?
Let's go with 2 momentum. I remembering my past. Yeah, I think I'm locked in the memories of those I've lost, and so I'll
Okay.
get 2 momentum on the beautiful pen.
On the beautiful pen. Okay. So you mosey into the chapel alongside. How are you walking with her, or?
Sure.
Okay, you both mosey into the chapel, and you are both struck by the sepulchral air. Like this feels like the inside of a tomb, and smells like it too. Uh, the rib bones are huge, but the shade is a welcome relief after the heat of the desert outside. But Lady Doctor, you look around. Every face is familiar. Every single one of these transi sculptures, you've seen them before. You loved them during the war, or they came across your table. These were the ones you couldn't save. There's a man who had half his face blown off in an explosion. He died on the table. There was his friend. They brought him in later. Got both his legs blown off by the same explosion. He was dead on arrival. All these faces, one after the other. You care deeply for your patients. All of them. The ones you saw during the war and the ones you saw afterward. The ones you lost were perhaps the most poignant of all, because you knew if only you'd had, a little more time, the more materials, the right kind of medicine, you could have saved them. You're that good, and you know it. But you didn't have the time, and you didn't have the materials, and you didn't have the medicine, and they died under your hand.
And the ones I could have saved are the worst.
So, your pen now has 3 momentum, and this is now a danger 2 stop.
It is.
You may now take the rest action if you so choose.
What does the rest action do again?
Experience a gentle scene. Do some tourism or experience wonder. Remove 1 momentum.
And that's just for the Lady Doctor, or for all of us that are here?
That's everyone. And the rest action is now an available action for anyone to take who is in the next round of actions, which will be the last.
But we still haven't finished this round.
Oh,
Correct. Just the hour devastation now.
Gotcha.
We'll engage with the event. I see
Okay.
the opportunity.
All right. You are inside the Bone Chapel. You see the enormous ribs, the uncountable stacks of books. You see the probable trip hazard of a staircase. What would you like to do?
I'm going to avoid the swath of angry ghosts that are floating around trying to find me, because I have killed a lot of people. It's not the ones that I lost that worry me. It's the ones that I killed. So I will be dealing with that particular crisis. I'll be using my trait memory of past sins.
The only ghosts here are.
You killed a lot of librarians, did you?
Yeah.
I was checking name cards.
These are the only ghosts here. The ones dedicated to the chapel. The transi, though, you recognize some of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The
ones you lost, but you also some of the ones you killed. You're pretty sure that one over there is the one you threw under a bus to try and get away. Well, he was trying to kill you, and you didn't want to be dead. The track marks are very distinct. But Nothing's after you per se, as far as
Uh,
any
the,
of the ghosts go.
the atmosphere of it is claustrophobic. Let's put it that way, and that's what I'm
There
trying
you
to
go.
get with. Okay. So I rolled a 10 on my dice.
Succeed. Just a success.
I think we'll call that a day.
Nothing fancy here. You did it. The danger decreases by 1. So, you've killed a lot of people in your time. Some of them deserved it. Maybe some of them didn't, but they're
Most
dead
of-
anyway. But they're dead anyway. And while the chapel ghosts are not you don't recognize any chapel ghosts among you don't recognize any of your victims among the chapel ghosts. You definitely, there had been a feeling of not doom but like pressure on you, where the general begged the forgiveness of her ghosts. You decided to avoid yours. So your memories have you look through memories of every person you've killed, and you found all of them, if not wanting, at least just. And as your past fades behind you, so does the feeling in this place of the unquiet dead. This is now a danger 1 stop. Oppressive, that's what I wanted. All right, we are now into the second round of stop actions. This will be the final round. Cause trouble is no longer available, but rest is. So you can seize opportunity, rest, release a touchstone, or use a conductor power.
I'm going to rest and decrease one of my momentum, or some momentum.
Okay.
And what does it do again? You just told me, and I'm trying to remember, but I'm a ghost.
You experience a gentle scene. Do some tourism or experience wonder. Remove 1 momentum. So, tell us, what brings you peace in the Bone Chapel? What do you do here that lets you let go of some of the sins of your past?
I walk around. What were the statues called again?
Transi. Yeah. Transi. I don't know why or what that stands for, but that's what the description says.
Okay. As I get my copy of my treatise, I walk around the transi, sort of looking at them, and seeing that these statues do not have names.
Not a single plaque. No names attributed to the sculpture or to the sculptor.
And yet they are here, they are remembered. So, I come to the conclusion that, well, maybe I don't have a name because I am dead, but like with these folks, that does not mean I am gone.
It's quiet in the Bone Chapel. Even when you make noise, like, you can hear the echoes of your footsteps, and they're not muffled, they come back very clear, but they fall into the air of the place like leaves dropping on a forest floor. It's a quiet kind of noise, even when there's more than one person walking around. And you walk around, you look at these transi, and you think these things, and you're struck by how quiet it is, how peaceful. And
And I cannot hear the sound of any machinery.
nope, not any machinery, except for the watch in your pocket. But that's the only machinery you hear. It's so very quiet. All right. Would anybody else like to do anything?
And it was the silver gear ring of my mechanic skill, which had 2 momentum, so now it only has 1.
Okay.
Woohoo!
All right. Anyone else?
I would like to try to release the touchstone.
Okay. What touchstone are you trying to release?
The book.
Makes sense. Best place to get rid of it's a library.
Yes.
How are you going about this?
I'm going to find a librarian and say, "Do you take donations of books?"
Well, it is very unusual, but no good librarian would ever disagree with expanding the collection.
The general is going to try to write out the code to deciphering the book because there's no point in my giving the book if I don't give them the code to decipher it. And that's actually probably why it's hard to do.
It's a very private cipher. Like maybe it's
Yeah.
not the most powerful of ciphers, but you've spent years and years refining and developing it. It's no enigma cipher, but it's
Oh, God,
definitely
no.
something very personal to you. Every word replacement, every scramble represents something you've done over the years to make it safer, but also preserve yourself in the pages, even more than memories you've written down.
So that's 2d6, right?
2d6.
I rolled snake eyes. Can
Which
I?
is good.
Is it good?
Oh,
That's good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best
It's
you can
good.
roll.
Now, how much momentum do you have?
None.
So
Oh. Okay.
you break the shackles of your past and you do what needs to be done. Give the touchstone to someone who needs it or rid yourself of it in another way that brings closure. Gain 1 contemplation, remove all momentum from the touchstone, and reduce all attached traits by 1 rank. So, you do. It's probably the hardest thing you had to do in a very long time. But you write out the cipher. You're. Who. It's the birthday of someone important to you. It's the letters of your mother's name. It's the offsets of the worst action you'd ever encountered, and the word replacements from the one action you managed to take during the war that didn't result in any casualties. This code is as important to you as the book itself, but you hand both to the librarian, and somehow they take it, despite you having seen them touch exactly nothing else. They take it in their hands, and they nod to you, and they say, "I will bring it in for proper cataloging and intake." I don't remember the good words for it, sorry.
Cataloging is the correct term.
Right. Yeah, but also, I feel like you decently use the dust jacket.
Acquisitions? What do you mean? Bindery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bindery. Rebinding.
Rebinding, setting it up so that it's safe to, for the public to, go pawing through it, because people, generally libraries will have thousands of people pawing through stuff. And they like to reinforce it. So you hand book and cipher off, and the librarian takes it and bows to you, and they don't move as far as you can see, but they're no longer there, and neither is your book. Wherever they went, they took the book with them.
And what am I supposed to write down on my sheet?
So you have released the touchstone. I believe there is a section on your on the touchstone piece that has a check mark for given away, and you can check or uncheck it.
Yes.
So you check mark that. You reduce all attached traits by 1.
The only trait was at 0. Do I actually reduce it to -1?
No, all traits only go to 0, and then they stop.
And 1 contemplation?
Yes, and you gain 1 contemplation. Contemplation is down beside keepsakes.
Ah, I see it. Okay. So the general will make her way out of the bone chapel, give it a salute, and then make her way back to the train.
It's probably the most bittersweet you felt in a while, but you feel lighter too. You've made some peace with the ghosts of your past, and you've managed to release some of the the weight of the memories that held you back. So that's 2. And the Lady Doctor in the Hour of Devastation. The event is a level 1 event. Your choices are to seize an opportunity, rest, release a touchstone, or use the conductor power. The conductor power applicable is the Naturalist's Pen. So if you sketch a map or detail from the stop in your journal, if anyone collects a keepsake from the stop, remove 1 momentum from 2 different touchstones. So.
Currently, nobody's going to get a keepsake because the danger hasn't been reduced to 0 yet. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Sure, I'll seize opportunity again.
Okay.
I will spend a chunk of time in a portion of the archives for detailing old magic and other ancient arcane things, and just reviewing everything and looking at it and trying to remember what's right, what's wrong, what's here, what's not supposed to be here that they've gotten recorded.
So the ghostly librarians are delighted to point you in the ancient magic section. This is the place for historians, after all. And since none of you appear to be sculptors, then you must be historians here for history. So that's what this place does best. The section is rather small. A large number of the books here are devoted to genealogical records and genealogical records. But there is a small section in the back. It's on the first level. It's nearish, actually, the chapel that the general was in. So, roll to see what you find.
Okay. Would you use the trait Oath and Magic and Blood for it?
Okay.
11.
Inspiring success. Okay. So describe to us what you find.
I find gaps in the genealogical records, and I just start filling in blanks.
Well, you were at the ancient magic section. You were looking for gaps or something.
Right, but there were genealogical records right there as well.
Yes, they're all over.
I pick those up and I start flipping through them.
Mm-hmm.
I go, oh, name, and I start adding in missing parts of the trees while I'm there. Just
okay.
Which ghost gets mad first?
You flip through maybe 4 pages before a ghost shows up. Why are you marking in these books?
I thought you said we couldn't cause trouble anymore.
Did you want answers or not? I can erase it just as easily.
The record. It's not the records we care about. It's the books. You've defaced them.
That's a shame, as I'm continuing to write in the book.
Why are you doing this?
Because the people who come after should know what happened.
Are you trying to get your ass kicked out of character?
If he wants to, he can.
I don't know what you're trying to get from this.
Your character is fucking around. Does he really want to find out?
At this point, he doesn't. He's sort of curious to see how far the ghost is willing to take this. Since the ghost seems to have completely missed the point of the sepulchre, which is to keep knowledge, and he's decided that valuing the book itself is more important than the knowledge contained within, which makes him an abject failure of a scholar and a historian.
He's neither. He's not a scholar or a historian. He's a librarian.
Right.
His objective is the preservation of the books. So he's not a scholar, he's not a historian, he's a librarian, and he's a ghost. So, he's really just an echo of a person doomed to forever repeat, the actions he performed in life, which would be preserve the books.
You should get new books.
We do accept additions to the collection, but once they're in the collection, it's sacrosanct. If there's a new edition, it has to come to us first.
Do you have a blank book?
He waves at he waves, and you look over and you see a writing desk. It's got a lamp, but it's dead currently, or at least it's not on. And there, if you open it up, you will find blank paper and pens and writing utensils inside, like to take notes with.
Excellent. So I'll take his book. I'll take the piece of paper that I've got, and I'll start copying my notes over for the corrected information. I'm still
Okay.
writing in his book for him. I'm just giving you a head start on the revision. As I copy both, I put the original copy on a new piece of paper, copied into the book as well. And I do this for a couple pages, then I hand him the revised pages. There you go.
He looks at it. He looks at you, and like the look on his face, you know, it's kind of hard to see his face because he's partially transparent, but it's also like he's turned from the silvery ghost thing into like dark storm clouds. He's this kind of very fetching shade of teal, which if you live in Texas knows that there's a tornado on the way. And he reaches out as if to take the paper, and as soon as his hand touches it, you find yourself holding nothing in the exact same pose, standing outside the library, but now the doors are shut.
Excellent.
Your mouth tastes kind of metallic. You're not really sure how that happened, but you did reduce the stops danger to 0, and because it was an inspiring success, that's
Dangerous 0 because we have all kicked out.
yeah.
I've played Warhammer Quest. I know this works.
You feel like you kind of recognized one of the statues in there, but it wasn't a victim of yours.
Happens. I can't kill everyone.
True, but it did look awfully familiar. Even if it wasn't the one you killed. So, I believe that is the end of the second round of stop actions.
No, I haven't taken one yet.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I will get back on the train and find the liquor car again.
So finding a open writing desk with some paper in it, I will pull some out and start taking sketches of my own dead, and perusing what's going on here on my way back on my walk back to the train. That's the conductor's action. That's clear, not clear.
Yes. If you actually sketch something and show it to us on stream, I will give you an extra keepsake. I'm not above bribery. Come on.
I'm also not an artist. I could try.
And then take a picture and we'll put it on the Twitter.
There you go.
Do it.
Terrible art. I'll see if I can find a tag.
That's not that bad.
This stick figure is missing both his legs from the knee down.
Alrighty. But as you wander, you like reviewing these faces is one of the harder things you've had to do. I mean, it's not like you don't see them every time you close your eyes anyway, but this feels a little personal. So you wander through and you make your sketches, and finally it becomes too much, and you step back out into the hot desert sunshine. The doors were open when you stepped out of them, but as soon as you turn around again, they are very firmly closed. You didn't hear them slam, you didn't feel the air move, but they're closed. And the train is sounding its whistle like it's getting ready to go.
I'll get back on. Time to go.
All right. You step back on. The Devastation is sitting at his usual, currently newly usual stool in the liquor car, getting his liquor. The Clockwork Ghost is sitting in her place in third class, and the General is enjoying a cigarette between two cars. A cigar.
Yeah.
And as you watch, the train slowly pulls away from the station, gathering speed as it goes. and leaving that strange white chapel with its books and its ghosts and its statues and reminders behind you. And you are once again traveling through the endless desert. Endless, timeless.
Does someone end up with a keepsake from that stop?
Sorry.
Only if you sketch it.
I did sketch it, but I
Okay.
believe it's the other way. I get that I end up losing momentum because someone will end up with a keepsake.
Yes, you remove one momentum from each of two touchstones.
did.
Someone will be chosen at random to receive that keepsake. If you show us the sketch, you'll receive a keepsake of your own.
Mhm.
All right. Pardon me, like casually dropped this on the floor. So, the Clockwork Ghost receives ghostly protection worth a one-time reroll of any die except as part of the epilogue roll.
I think it's appropriate.
I agree.
You said it's worth one die reroll, but not for the epilogue.
A one-time reroll of any die except as part of the epilogue roll. Yes. All right. And you are on your way once again. The endless blue sky stretches out above you. Golden sands punctuated by stones and by cacti stretch before you. And the train sways along in its mechanical hissing and clattering and occasional whistle through the vast and lonely landscape of the desert. What would you like to do?
I'm going to try. I would like trying to release a touchstone.
Okay. Please describe to us how you're going to do that.
She's sort of looking at her little embroidered hanky with the little almost cartoony little cat on it. No names, no monograms, just a kitty. A little gray tabby. And she just sort of opens the window of her otherwise empty third-class car and just kind of like holds it out the window and watches it flutter in the wind, and then tries to let it go.
All right, roll for it.
Does this roll 2 dice or 1 die?
Roll 2 dice. You're trying to roll low this time.
I rolled an 8.
So that's an ugly break.
Ooh.
You do get rid of the touchstone, but gain 1 momentum on a different touchstone. If this is your final touchstone, get rid of it and take 1 damage. So.
Okay, and I can't re-roll these.
Your ghostly protection would let you, but you don't. None of your traits. Hang on, let me check that actually.
Okay.
Touchdowns. This roll can't be made until after a meaningful scene with a touchstone. This doesn't have to be anything as mechanical as flashback, but there should be narrative weight behind the decision to hug that bus or you love it of a cliff. You can take 1 damage to reroll 1 die as long as another traveler steps in to help. This action doesn't need to be an act of kindness as long as you're conflicted about giving up the item. Wrestling over a cursed amulet is fair game. So.
Okay, so it's... I can reroll, but I would take a damage?
You would need someone's help to reroll.
Okay.
You could also take damage from doing so.
Then I'm just gonna take... So I can let go, but I take another momentum on another one.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll put the silver ring back up to 2.
In releasing this touchstone, like, you used your little kitty, you had your little kitty handkerchief with you. You've had it since the start of the journey. You used it to help you dust some of the grime off the card catalog. And it reminded you of one of your most basic driving instincts. The thirst to learn. Wanting to know more things because they are simply worth knowing. So, watching it flutter away in the breeze, it's hard. It's you didn't have a name for the cat, you didn't have a monogram on the handkerchief, but it was a part of you as much as any other thing was. And as you look down, you see the ring on your hand, and you imagine if it was your ring you'd lost, what that would feel like. The kind of memories associated with it that you lose without its solid weight on your hand. And you can't help but feel that that silver ring is a little more precious now, a little harder to let go of. All right. Who else would like to take a train action? Your options are to stop the train, provoke a flashback, experience a shared flashback, release a touchstone, share a meal now that you stopped. Your keepsake, you can now share meals again because you've all reset that counter essentially because you stopped. Or use a conductor power. Heck.
How does one provoke a flashback?
So you choose a player and you choose an item that they have, a touchstone. Another character has a flashback. You select a touchstone with a single trait. They unlock a new trait on the touchstone at the end of the flashback. So you the Clockwork Ghost provoked a flashback in the hour of devastation by examining his pocket watch, the one that he'd just given her. The flashing lights reminded him of a time by the sea where he had to deal with somebody. So you could ask someone about their touchstone. You could, just ask to see it, and then whatever you do with it might provoke the flashback. You choose how that happens.
So I think the general encounters the Clockwork Ghost as she's, maybe rubbing her finger on the ring and sees it and says, "That's a fine ring. Where did you get it?"
I don't remember. It's just always it's always been here and helped me to think.
Like a mnemonic.
Maybe there was that situation with the code earlier and a few days ago in the city of Maud, and it just sort of helped me remember the language of the machines, which helped me decode a little bit of it.
So you're a code breaker.
I can be. I'm more of an interpreter of machines. Because they speak. The longer they run, the more they develop their own personalities and idioms.
All right. So as you're speaking, we fade out from the present day. The scene goes white, and then we come up on a different place, a different time. It seems like it might be a long time ago, but you're not very sure. Uh, this is just the Clockwork Ghost because this is a Baroque flashback, not a shared one.
Right.
It's the inside of a pretty big room. Dark wooden beams darkened by soot and age hold up the ceiling, which is also itself marked by soot. Um, there are sturdy tables all around, wood, but reinforced with metal banding, especially around the joins. Stand at various places around the room, and they hold all manner of wonderful machines, tiny clockwork dolls, uh, little music boxes with ballerina figures that dance fluidly as the key turns. Uh, Strange liquids bubble in beakers, but they are well away from the mechanics. That's a separate table. Very, very, very clearly marked out, spiked areas for that table where it's always supposed to go. A large smelter stands at the back of the room. You're pretty sure that's probably the source of most of the soot in the ceiling. And an anvil stands before it. You are standing in the middle of the middle of the room. In your hand is a tray of fine clockwork maker's tools, precision tools, more like this.
Oh,
You're holding. It's more like handles on a tray. Um, there's a man standing at a table in front of you. Unlike the other tables, this one is largely clear. There's a semicircle of where you can actually see table, as opposed to most of them, which are just covered in stuff. I mean, there's definitely a line of like gears and cogs and springs and detritus where he obviously went just whatever he's working on down there.
what'd you do?
He's a tall man with flyaway curly gray hair, and he's wearing goggles while he works on a small action figure. It's a little hero wearing green armor with a green cape. A name rises to your mind, Gawain. It's not the name of the man, but it might be the name of the doll.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose I watch him intently with my tray, doing very fine controlled mechanical work.
Yep. You hear all kinds of mechanical whirring. There's, the little gears of the ballerinas as they turn. There's the mechanized whirring of the dolls, some of which is definitely broken. Like you can hear the tick of broken gear against broken gear. At least someone's got a broken spring somewhere because it keeps trying to ping and it's not quite getting there. And there's more whirring in your ears. It sounds even closer, but you can't really see where it's coming from. The man doesn't look up, but he does throw his hand behind him and goes, M4 ratchet.
I hand him the M4 ratchet.
It's a small tool about that big. It looks like a socket wrench, like a ratcheting socket wrench, except it's about that big on the chunk end, so you can, pretty small. So, Lord Danther sent another order in for 400 small clockwork soldiers for his son.
Okay. What's the deadline?
He's in a rush again. His son's birthday is in 2 months. I've already got 100 of them. They're not terribly hard to make, but we don't have the gearing and materials to make the rest of them, at least not yet. Can you put in an order for another 6,000 C-size gears from the clockmakers at the Cogsworth down the street?
Yes, sir. I'll do that right away. 6,000 C-sized gears.
So you turn to set the tray of mechanics down because apparently, you're very pretty literal. This is, when you say you're going to do it now, you're going to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
So you set the tray down and you turn to leave, and the whirring in your ears gets louder, kind of ticking. You still can't tell where it's coming from, but it doesn't appear. The man doesn't appear worried, and in fact, he's still pretty engrossed in the small green action figure. And you walk out the door into a long stone hallway. Like, the room was wood and paneled in wood and buttressed in wood, but this is stone.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you can see some crazing by the door that suggests that whatever the wood inside is, it's supported on all sides by stone for a good reason. You walk down the stone hallway and you step out onto the cobbled street. The cobbles are dark. It's rained recently. It isn't going to rain now. You can tell that not just by the lack of static in the air, but by the fact that even though it's still cloudy, the water is sluicing down the drains beside the road, and small children are playing in it. You can see the Cogsworth from here. It's a couple shops down. Cogsworth Fine Clockmakers, it said. Purveyor of fine clocks since, and the date's kind of not visible. It's a little dirty. Shining in the rain.
It's raining, yeah.
Yep. What do you do?
I go to the Cogsworth.
Okay. You go to the Cogsworth. The ticking is still loud in your ears,
Hmm.
and you keep it up, and you walk into the clockmaker's. Cogsworth himself is standing behind the counter. The most recent Cogsworth, anyway. He
They've been around for a while.
all the proprietors of Cogsworth have a huge handlebar mustache that comes out to points. The fullness of it varies from Cogsworth to Cogsworth, but he nods agreeably. Well, what can I do for you today?
Well, Mr. Cogsworth, my business needs to order 6,000 sea-sized gears for an order we have to fulfill within 2 months.
My, that's a lot of sea-sized gears. Fortunately, we've had an oversupply. So
Great.
we should be able to get them to you in the near future. He reaches underneath his desk and pulls out some papers. Just writing in the invoice here, make sure that we get everything. 6,000, you said?
6,000 sea-sized gears, yes.
Okay.
I wrote it down. Out of
He
character.
writes it down in flourishing handwriting. And then he looks up and says, I don't suppose I could convince you to give me a look at those clockworks of yours.
Well, which ones in particular?
Yours.
Mine?
Yours.
Oh. Well, we do know each other pretty well. And our businesses have been working together for a very long time, so I don't suppose there would be any worry with it. And she starts basically sort of. It's not buttons. It's like there's little those little skirt hooks that you put on the inside of the skirt, so you don't really see it. And so she's sort of undoing those along the inside of her skin on her left arm, and she just sort of pulls it open and shows him.
Okay. And as we zoom out, we see the Cogsworth leaning over with a jeweler's monocle in his eye and a set of very fine brush in one hand, like he's gonna, see if he can get any crud out or something like that. As we pull out, he leans over and the camera pulls away from the clock shop, which seems not to have a ceiling, or at least not when the camera encounters, and eventually we fade back into the present day. Third class compartment, empty except for the Clockwork Ghost and the General, and the silver light shining prettily off your ring, where the sun is coming in through the window that you just let go of your handkerchief through.
Huh. Interesting. So it's not that I don't have a name because I'm dead, it's that I was never properly alive.
You seem alive.
Thank you. That's very kind of you to say.
No, you're definitely alive.
If you say so.
Also, your flashback hint is it's very quiet.
It's very quiet.
Was there a chime that went off during this?
That was me. I'm sorry. My sister's being annoying.
Ah.
Okay. Although we wanted to hit a break, well, I know you can handle that.
I've got based on when we started, I've got about 15 minutes left on the clock, but we could take it now.
I mean, it does kind of make sense story-wise, and also I need to talk to my sister before she screams at me.
Oh, all right then. So,
Before we go on break, I have done a terrible sketch. Here's my terrible sketch.
okay.
Post a picture of it in the Discord. Your camera's not focusing on it. No, seriously, it's pencil and paper, dude. But yes, you did the sketch. You get a keepsake.
Woo-hoo!
You get a sense of coolness even in the desert heat. I'm talking sepulchral coolness. And give me a second to bring back up keepsakes. So
The cool chill of the underworld.
Yeah. The keepsake clears the ground for new memories. It produces the traveler's momentum by 1.
Reduce which?
It reduces momentum by 1.
Okay. So I can drop momentum by 1 or 1 something. Okay.
Yep. All right. So, we will take a break here. We will come back. The general's taking their action, and the Clockwork Ghost is taking their action for this round of train actions.
I had my first flashback.
Yay!
And I think when we come back, you'll also announce the new event, or will be that at the end of the round?
Events come after 2 flashbacks. That was 1.
Oh, 2 flashbacks. Okay, thank you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
2 flashbacks.
Okay. So, hi, Fadir. So...
I will, however, after break, do another show and tell for the characters' secret goals. I'm just going to do them all at once so everyone will close their eyes and then the audience can see, because apparently we had some people who weren't here at the beginning.
And we can't just put them in the chat, because then we'd see them too, and that's awkward.
Yep.
Oops. Alright, so, chat, we are going to go on break for 10 minutes, and we'll see you in a few. And audio.
Okay, welcome back. Thanks. It was a little longer than 10 minutes, but we needed it. So, if all the players would close their eyes, I will show all the audience their various secret goals. Can you see that, audience?
Audience, pay attention.
So we have the the lady doctor, the general, the Clockwork Ghost, and the Hour of Devastation. So, can everybody see this?
Nope. Well, let me look at the chat. Fadir says something Discworld. I have no idea if they can see them.
Okay.
Well, we tried.
Well, if they didn't see it then, they're not going to see it again. They'll figure it out when the players do.
And we have thought of a way to maybe make this go a bit faster to try and get to the end of the game this session.
Yeah.
So instead of the second leg beginning after someone gets 3 flashbacks, it's going to be 2.
Yeah, that works.
And
it's still going to be tough, given that we need 3 revelations and also that, and 1 more flashback in order to do it. But we can try.
We can try.
I mean, we can figure out, well, depending on, so revelation would be each, so basically as the second leg starts, it now becomes 1 player, a GM, and 3 half GMs.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're also players, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right. For this, the Lady Doctor and the Hour of Devastation are the last 2 to go.
I'm going to try and release a touchstone.
All right.
So I have the silver band that I've been wearing forever, and finally, after spending that time in the library and recording the genealogy, I'll slip that band off, and as you look at turn around and you see the inside of it, there are lines etched into it that if you looked at them and you followed them and you could figure out what they said, it's a genealogy tree that goes back from a starting point and then just goes down and around, and it cycles back in on itself a couple of different times. But now that it's recorded someplace else, I don't need this to remind me where I came from, where I started, what I started. So I will take the time to get rid of this. Let's hope. 6.
All right.
I think that's bad breakup.
No, actually, 7 to 9 is the ugly break. 2 to 6 is change. You break the shackles of your past and do what needs to be done. Give the touchstone to someone who needs it, or rid yourself of it in another way that brings closure.
I
So,
will trade it to the bartender for a bottle of whiskey, because I'm sure he can make
Yeah.
it made of silver.
so the bartender, who still at this point hasn't spoken a word to you, you set the silver band on the counter of the bar, and he looks at it, and his eyebrows go up because that is solid silver. And you point to one of the nicer bottles of whiskey or scotch.
I'll pick
Scotch.
whichever.
He brings it over and he sets it next to the bangle. Puts his hand over the band and looks at you inquiringly, eyebrows raised. So he scoops that up, weighs it in his hand, does something to it beneath the bar that you can hear kind of a splash, but you don't know what's really, you can't quite see what he's doing. He pulls it out and it's dripping wet, but clean. Brushes it off on his lapel and sticks it in his pocket and nods to you. Sets a glass next to the bottle.
Excellent.
So you gain 1 contemplation, remove all momentum from that touchstone, and reduce all attached ranks traits by 1 rank.
All right. Health and blood goes back to 0. Goes to 0. If we're going back. Okay. It's a me, Mario.
All right, and then Lady Doctor.
Sure. Priscilla,
Mhm.
what are the Clockwork Ghost's traits? Particularly the ones that have not had flashbacks yet.
You mean touchstones?
Touchstones, yes, thank you.
There was the embroidered cat handkerchief, which I tossed out the window, and that's curiosity, and the perfume bottle that I still have that is always maintain appearances.
Plus, this, yeah.
I don't know
Silverband
if
already had flashback.
Silver Ring had a flashback,
Yep.
and that's my mechanics skill.
Sure. So I will approach the Clockwork Ghost.
Hello.
Hi.
Did the general decide? Has the general left the third?
I was probably just, I don't know if the general would have gone to the third class. Like, we were probably just out both for a walk.
Yeah, I think
Up
we
and
were
down.
passing each other in the cars.
Okay.
Because as we know, there is a caretaker of the first class cars, and I should not go there.
He can smell
Oh,
bronze
dear.
ink.
Mm,
How he smells anything of his own.
mm.
I'm not sure that's so much a caretaker as a self-appointed caretaker.
Indeed.
A gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper.
So yeah, so I guess I'm either in the dining car or still walking about the taking a constitutional up and down the cars I won't be yelled at in, and just, oh, hello.
Hi, I haven't got a chance to talk to you. You seemed interesting. Can I buy you a drink?
All right. I was heading toward. I'm about done with my walk. I could do with some imbibement.
Excellent. Come with me to my car.
Very well. Oh, are you in the first class? Because I'm not sure I'm allowed to be there.
You are if you're with me.
Oh, very well. Thank you.
So while we're enjoying your drinks, I'll comment on the interesting scent you have. It seems fascinating. Where did you where did you pick that up? Do you know what it's made of?
I believe the notes are rose and crude oil.
And where did it come from? Provoking flashback, of course.
As the question is asked, where did it come from? The scene once again pulls away from the train and the endless desert and the empty sky, and we find ourselves walking down a street in the city by the sea. It's a pretty busy street. It's not the one with the workshop and the Cogsworths. It's still in that kind of district, though. The architecture is remarkably the same. There are people in stalls standing by the sides of the road. you get the feeling this is some kind of market day. Like these stalls aren't usually here, especially with the amount of traffic that's currently congested between them. Like surely if the uh, via had been designed for constant stalls up and down its length, it would have been made bigger. But this is a special celebratory, market day kind of feel. And you're walking down, and you're listening to the children play. You know, kids, small urchins are running in and out between people. Some of them are being followed by shouts of "Stop, thief!" You can see them holding fresh apples or other produce. Um, Pies are filling the air with beautiful scents. Fresh bread is being baked. Um, the peaches are fresh and very ripe. Uh, and all in all, it's a wonderful display of food and other perishables. And you're walking down this street.
Um, I'm going to pick up some fresh peaches for the workshop to make sure to make sure the our main
The old man with the gray hair.
the old man with the gray hair eats something today, because I understand that is important, even if he does not.
Yep. As you look at the peaches, you find yourself kind of hungry as well.
Hmm. Okay, I will buy more peaches. Do I have a money?
You reach into your pouch and you find a number of brass and silver coins. Even one silver coin is enough to cover your entire purchase.
Very well. Is this a shopkeeper who is here normally, or only for this festival? Or did they just take their store out onto the sidewalk from their actual storefront for the festival?
Given the outfit, which is kind of shabby, even if it is, clearly this person's finest wear, the rather worn straw hat and the hay sticking out of his mouth, you're guessing this is probably a farmer who came into the town specifically for this, especially because all his fruits and vegetables are very fresh and much larger than you'd expect to see from something that was grown in a window box in the city.
Oh, so I thank him for the purchase. And so, are you enjoying the city?
Well, I don't get in much more than once a season, ma'am, but I do enjoy it when I'm here. It's always nice to see the fine people in their fine clothes, especially yourself, miss.
Oh, thank you.
And
It's-
he definitely does the eyes up and down.
She just shrugs. She may or may not be used to it. Yes,
It does feel like a familiar gesture to you, like you've seen people do this a lot before.
she assumes it's some micro expression she doesn't understand yet. Some robots don't get it.
Well,
Yes, it's nice having so much fresh produce here, even just once a year.
Oh, we come twice a season, ma'am.
Oh, twice a season? Oh, okay.
Once during the spring harvest and once during the fall harvest. Granted, most of these other folks only come once a year, especially the scent sellers and stuff. They take a long time to make their wares, but mine grows with the sun and sets with the winter.
Scent sellers?
Yeah, right. If you go down that way, a couple booths, you'll find yourself some of the finest scents. Mostly the springtime ones, especially. During the fall, you don't get quite as many of the nice smelling things, but they make a mint living doing their rose water and their violets and all that good stuff. They're very popular among the ladies, as I understand. My own mate has asked me to get me some of their nice lavender stuff. Keeps the moths out of the linens, such as they are.
Oh, so they sell flowers?
No, they're distilled into oils, and then you have some kind of way to dispense them. My mate, she just debs it on, but some of the fancier ladies have these kind of spray bottles that they do. I don't hold with them myself. They're too fragile for life on a farm, but some people like to enjoy them, especially the city folk.
Oils. Interesting. I'm a mechanic. I work with oils. Huh. I will have to take a look at these scent merchants. Thank you for your help.
You have a lovely day, ma'am.
Thank you. You as well.
And you leave him behind as you walk down the street. It's not very far to the scent people. You can actually smell them
Hmm.
before you can see them. It's a lot of very pungent scents. Sandalwood, and violet is most uppermost, but you can also detect hints of rose, also very popular, and lavender. All the floral sense of spring.
No Arcana Sage. It's not a pickup line. Shoo. All right. I look for a stall that isn't too full of people. It looking that I can't get in to see. So, if that makes any sense. The least the one with the least traffic, so I can actually just go in and look at what's on offer.
Most of them are a little bit on the crowded side. A lot of women seem to be here, especially some of the lower middle class. Some of the booths also have a fair smattering of men as well, looking for their colognes and such. But you manage to find one near the further end of the particular fork, that is fairly quiet. Only a couple other people. Thanks, Fadior.
Yeah, I saw that too.
That seems to be pretty quiet. Only one or two people perusing the various bottles. Um, Along the back are some fairly large ones, but most of the ones in front are pretty small. And there are various containers to hold them in. Ornamental, um, ornamental ones to hold them. There's some ornamental sprayers as well. And the audience sees, highlighted specially just for us, not you, the perfume bottle that you held in the present day sitting on a shelf near the front.
Hmm. Hello.
Hello, welcome to Agran's Essential Oils. What can I get for you?
Do you have any that smell like motor oil?
Well, it's not a popular scent, but I do keep some of that oil. Sometimes you get the confused people through and they want it. So she reaches underneath the booth and pulls out a um the tin man's oil can.
Yeah.
She pulls that out and sets it on a clear spot. You can smell the motor oil from here.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty pungent stuff.
It smells like my home.
Oh, you're a mechanic.
Yes.
That's nice. I like the little things, but my hands, I just don't know. I guess they're kind of rough after years of working with, pressing and the pressings and such. But I just never could quite get the handle on those little screws and such.
It's really just a matter of good tools and a lot of practice.
I guess most things are.
It might be a worthwhile hobby,
Maybe.
even just
Maybe.
for personal use. Why do people wear the scents of flowers?
Because it pleases them, I suppose. Although some of them, especially this one, she pulls one of the larger bottles from the back. It's labeled lavender oil. Uh, this one is especially efficacious in keeping away insects, small, biting ones, and things like to chew on linens. So it's very popular with some of the lower class ladies who prefer it to keeping actual, trying to find lavender in the city. It's not the easiest thing, but it keeps linens nice. Um, some people also like to use the oils as a cover up for scents they don't like. So if something smells bad, they'll put some on a handkerchief and hold to their face so they can't smell the bad one, and they can only smell what they like.
Oh, that is very practical.
Indeed. And I do sell these. She pulls out a small canister. Unlike the glass bottles and fancy things, among other things, it's opaque and it's labeled smelling salts. These don't smell especially nice, but they are noted for their ability to smell so bad that the person who's smelling them wakes up to get away from them.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Would you perhaps be able to blend the motor oil with the rose oil? We do not get many roses in the city. And
Indeed.
I do not think we have a problem in the workshop with insects, unless they're the ones we have made. But they do not eat linens.
Well, I don't see why not. She pulls out a small regular sized bottle about that big and puts a little couple drops in, with the noise of the tin oil man's tin can. I mean the tin man's oil can. God damn. Sorry. Um, and then pulls one of the larger jugs from the back, labeled rose oil, and just kind of couple drops in there and swirls it with a glass stirring rod.
She watches all of this with interest. It's like, ooh.
I don't. I mean, mixing oils isn't terribly, Lots of people like having mixed scents. Sandalwood's a very common base, especially for the gents. Though I do have some ladies who enjoy it as well. But this is the first time I've mixed motor oil in. The consistency is a little odd, but it should still spray if you have a sprayer.
Oh, I do not have a sprayer. May I also purchase a sprayer here?
Certainly, I carry a selection. She gestures to the display in front of her. Off to the as you face her, it's her left and your right are a selection of the sprayers, including yours.
I think she looks very carefully at each one and figures out, okay, which one will fit in my hand, which one will fit in my pocket.
Several will fit in your hand, several will fit in your pocket. Um,
But
those,
ergonomically, I mean.
yeah, no, they know. There's only so many shapes you can make a perfume bottle.
That's true.
And these are not especially esoteric ones. What mostly catches your eye are the different colors. Uh, the one there are several in purple and several in blue and uh but one has some strange silver swirls to the glass.
Ooh,
Yours.
I like this one. How much will this cost?
She names a price. It's a not inconsiderable amount. It's approximately 3 times what you paid for the peaches. But given that this is a purchase you'll probably only have to make once, it's not a bad price.
She has noticed that, yeah, just the number of drops, and is like, oh, a little bit will go a long way.
Indeed. And I mean, it's not a terribly uncommon mix, but I'm not the only person who carries motor oil, so you shouldn't have any trouble stocking up again when it's next year.
Very well. Well, maybe I will see you here again next year.
Maybe you will. Just a fair warning, don't go to the perfumeries in the city during the year because they will charge you so much for the motor oil. They're very snotty about it.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your purchase. And as she hands you the little glass perfume bottle with the sprayer, the world dissolves again, and we are back in the train, and the bottle is in your hand. Silver swirls, still maybe a third full.
Yes, I believe I got this. There was a special market in the city, once or twice a season, but the scent merchants only showed up once a year. And a nice young lady, she didn't. She told me there wasn't much call for rose and motor oil, but she was more than happy to blend them for me.
Oh, how fascinating.
And I felt a little bit more like a normal woman.
Well, none of us are normal, dear.
Indeed. What
No
are?
woman is.
How are you not normal?
These hands have hurt and healed, and lost and found. And many people have done all of these things, but not quite so much together.
Oh, are you also a mechanic?
In a way, I suppose I am. But I do not walk around machines. Or at least I'm not skilled in doing so.
Oh, I am. Skilled in working, in fixing, and in speaking to them.
Now, I will note one complication that we have with the rules that we've adapted. I don't know how to deal with this. Is that in theory, as once someone becomes the seeker, or rather, once they've unlocked 3 touchstones, they should know who they are and what their goal is. But I do not believe the Clockwork Ghost currently knows these things.
Well, I hadn't given her a clue yet, but
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, the important thing to know before you start the second leg is who you were. The second leg's really about determining who you will be. But I mean, for the sake of time, especially given we've got 45 minutes to get 3 relations through, which we may or may not get done. But yeah, the Clockwork Ghost, you are mechanical. It is, you are a mechanic yourself. That's how you speak to them so well. The person who made you died a fair time ago, but it wasn't a bad death. It was just old age. Time happens, and time doesn't quite pass for you as it does for other people. But time does pass in the end. And as the years went by, you got slower and slower, and the ticking of your mechanical heart slowed too. Until eventually, by the time you stepped onto the train, by the time it was time for your journey, you were as quiet as the Hour Station's pocket watch. You're missing your key, but you know you'll find it in Cerebos. All right, the Clockwork Ghost is our seeker. That does mean the second leg has started. So, in the interest of time, I'll also forego rolling on the events tables because the revelations are events
Right.
or possibly stops, depending on who they are. So, the second leg. So, Clockwork Ghost, you are the seeker. This apotheosis marks the seeker as the story's central character, but don't let that hierarchy hold you back from learning more about the other travelers. Even though they become saints and demons, they're still traveling for their own purposes. Saints and demons are foils for the protagonist, but they're also drivers of new discoveries. Although the seeker's reality exerts powerful pressure on the story, their ticket to the future is still blank. Remembering your secret goal is a different kettle of soup than knowing what to do about it. Reality is less flexible in the second leg than the first leg. Consider the secret goal. So, the seeker, the first traveler to experience 2 flashbacks at this point, becomes the seeker. If more than one traveler does that, doesn't matter. The other travelers have become saints or demons all along. Have been saints or demons all along. Saints aid the seeker, remaining true to the past. This can lead to trouble. Demons aid the seeker in leaving the past behind. This can also lead to trouble. The seeker can look at their secret goal. You know what you were intending to do when you set out, and you know why. Do you still feel that way? If so, swell. You've tested your will under the sudden adversity. The path ahead may be physically perilous, but ideologically sound. If Cerebos isn't offering the goods, services, or social climate that you need, you might have to start tempering your expectations. On the other hand, if you're starting to rethink your original goal, breaking away may take a powerful act of will, or friendship. So, saints and demons, you will not find fulfillment in Cerebos. Maybe you're not ready to stop running, maybe the myth you set to find was just that. Regardless, your original goal isn't in the cards for you now. Doubt gnaws at you. It's even conceivable that you're a metaphysical being intended to influence a decision of cosmic significance. At this point, your purpose, knowingly or not, is to guide the seeker on their journey. If your assistance tips the scales, there may even be something in it for you. Alright, so, who is what? Zardoz, you have no touchdowns left, you're probably going to become a demon.
I have one. I saw the picture.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But yeah, I'm probably a demon.
You've released 2 touchdowns, which I think most of anybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've caused 2 flashbacks. I'm pretty sure I'm going to become the saint one way or another.
And the rules said we needed as even a number as possible, so we need at least one of each, and then
Yep.
third is wildcard.
Yeah, I
means I
could go either way. I don't know which way makes most sense. So you're saying Zardos is a demon and I'm a what?
Well, are you all about holding on to the past and honoring it? Or are you all
Yeah,
about...
probably.
Okay.
Or rather than stepping into the future and letting go of the past.
I think the general's still a saint. Maybe someday she'll graduate to demonhood.
So the general is still held by her past, and she respects it and values it, and realizes what it can bring to her. She's a saint. The Hour of Devastation has let go of his past. Most of it, anyway. He still has one reminder, but it's. He's looking forward to what the future can bring, whether that be rack and ruin or new opportunities. It's. The future is what he looks for now. And the Lady Doctor could not let go of her past. It weighs on her actions and holds her to it. She reminds others of their pasts and what happened to them. She is also a saint. Perhaps she does not honor the past, but she is still bound by it. And through her actions, she influences the seeker to she tries to influence the seeker to hold on to her past. In the second leg, we add an action to the train actions table that I have moved. Hang on. We now also have the option of share a revelation. Saints and demons can each create a new stop or event during the second leg. For more information, see the second leg. But that's also an action. So you can still get rid of touchstones. You can use conductor power, share a meal, experience a shared flashback, provoke a flashback, or stop the train as part of a train action. Given that we're on the crunch, I would ask that you try and do your revelations, but that's up to you people. Whether or not you want, and the seeker herself can, do any of these things, or except the seeker cannot share revelation. The seeker is the one with whom revelation is shared. So yes, and like that.
So revelation is basically the same as a stop?
It's a stop or an event of the saint or demon's choosing. You make up what happens and you guide the seeker through it.
You become the GM.
Yeah, you become the GM briefly. So you interact with the event. So other players interact with the event just as if it was a regular event or stop. And you each decide whether or not you want to do whatever stop or event actions that you want, and hopefully the ghost gets something out of your revelation, to honor her past or to look to her future. It's up to you. We have entered the second leg.
Yay.
Yay.
Alrighty, now we're all the way here. Who would like to go first?
Someone have an idea?
If you don't want to choose your own event, I will roll on the tables, and it'll be a Danger 3 event that you can guide the seeker through.
Sorry, we're doing the blank stare.
Yeah. Given that this journey is about letting go, you might wish to consider releasing touchstones, but that's just me.
Yep. Well, yes, but it's much easier for some of us to release touchdowns after we drop the momentum on them.
That is true. So the person with momentum might want to do a revelation.
Oh, am I the only person with a lot of momentum?
You can spend momentum as part of your revelation.
I know. I have the sheet up sitting there for that.
So you all get actions. Like, there's nothing to prevent Seeker 2. Nothing preventing you from getting actions.
Sure. Oh, that's right. This is a new round. This is, in fact, a new...
Yep.
Don't we get an event?
We're
I was going to
foregoing
put
the event. The event
that-
was the revelation of the seeker.
Huh?
That you were talking over each other.
Sorry.
You go ahead.
I was trying to repeat what you had said, that you were foregoing the event.
Yeah, I was foregoing the event in favor of a revelation for the Seeker because the revelations are either events or stops. And also, we've only got another, 40 minutes or so.
Sure. I'm going to say that we see up ahead a um, a graveyard of trains where a great number of train cars piled up and being worked on by mechanics. And we will be coming into them as my revelation at the end of this set of actions.
Is it a scrapyard or a stockyard?
It is a stockyard.
Stockyard. Okay. All right. So one more round of actions for people before we pull into the stockyard.
So this is an event?
Yes.
This is a stop.
And since I was actually in the middle of talking with the Clockwork Ghost, do you see them up ahead? That looks interesting.
Ooh.
Aren't those trains?
Yes, they are all being worked on.
So it seems.
Probably repaired.
Healed. But some of them may be too damaged to be healed. And perhaps some of their parts will be used for others.
Yes, recycling and reusing and upcycling are all important parts of the process.
And yet, people will probably miss those trains that have to be taken out of service.
Yes, trains are very sturdy. They have to go through a lot of routes and a lot of conductors and a lot of engineers before they finally need to be disassembled or repaired.
I don't know much about trains, but I suppose that makes sense.
I hope they are happy with their new parts.
And I hope those who remember the old trains don't miss them too much. Or perhaps miss them just enough.
Well, it's important to remember the past, to remember how to progress into the future. So they are merely fueling the progress of the future.
Very true.
So one cannot happen without the other.
Quite.
Something has to be broken. Something has to break down before it can be fixed and improved upon.
I suppose it does, yes. I've taken my action. If somebody else wants to take an action, otherwise we can just keep role playing for a while. Or are you setting up for an action, Chris?
Am I? I'm okay with sharing a meal with the lady doctor as we're watching the train graveyard go past the window.
Perhaps not describe it in quite as extreme detail as we did the last time, just in the interest of time.
It's okay. It can be fish.
Fish. Lovely pasta.
It's pollock. Yep. With collard greens. It's pretty good.
Well, also we're in the dining car, so it's not going to be a 3-course meal.
No, we were in the first class car.
Oh, we're in the first. Oh, you're right. Yeah. So.
But I asked for the short version.
It's a 3-course meal. But Oliver snubs your table pointedly, and the other 2 ladies are not in appearance. They're probably in their sleeping cars.
Makes sense.
And my table manners are impeccable.
Yes.
And carefully measured.
And the food is good and tastes good. Ooh. And it does satisfy your hunger because you were hungry.
And it probably is finer food than I'm used to eating.
Indeed.
I do still try to tip. Do I tip the waitstaff here? I'm not sure how we do that.
Yes, but I've got enough money. I'll do it.
Oh, thank you.
So you get your 3-course meal. Oliver gets his 3-course meal served to a separate spot. You notice, a separate table. You notice that while the food brought to your table is steaming, visibly, even in this heat, the stuff brought to Oliver's table isn't.
Funny that.
Seen that.
See what happens when
Apparently-
you don't reward service.
Apparently, he has not endeared himself to anybody, which is probably why the other two ladies are in their cabins with a headache. And your keepsakes, you have a nice conversation, genteel. It comes out over the course of things that you were actually originally designed to take food as your energy source. Um, it was supposed to be able to, let you. It's not counterfeiting humanity, but it's uh not even disguising alienness. It's that it's a convenient way. It's a normal way. With the mechanics available at the time, it was probably the cheapest way to keep you powered. Um,
Mm.
so it's not concealment or anything. It was just pragmatism. People eat, robots can eat. Let's do it.
Of course.
Yay!
Um, Clockwork Ghost, your keepsake from the meal, is a heightened energy levels, good for reroll of 1 trait die when rolling traits or racing touchstones. And the Lady Doctor, you will get the a certain satisfaction brought on from seeing Oliver being treated badly by the staff whom he has treated badly, and it will grant you, I believe. Let me check keepsakes real fast because I know which one I want to give you. Check the wording. The keepsake is bracing. It prevents the next point of damage the traveler would take.
Okay. And I declared I'm sharing a meal, so
Meal
that's
has-
right. I declared that as my action. Yes.
Yes.
The meal has been shared. You don't have to roll for sharing a meal.
Nope.
fail. Stick yourself with a fork.
Ow! I don't know how to do that makeup yet. Maybe someday. And not on stream within 30 minutes.
No.
So did I win the game? I don't know.
You really need a packet of ketchup between your fingers and just.
All right. General and the hour.
Give me a second. I have mischief afoot, but. Okay. Yeah, I know what I'm going to do. I'm heading up to the first class cabin.
Okay. All right. Head up to the first class cabin.
Yep. I'm going to work on releasing a touchstone. It's going to be neat.
All right. Sure enough, Oliver is there when you come up. The Lady Doctor and the Clockwork Ghost are sitting genteelly at one of the benches. The meal's been over for a while now, and they've just been enjoying the scenery such as it is and speaking quietly of fixing and repairs and the differences between mechanics and humans and the similarities, too. Things lost and things gained.
Excellent.
And how things have to break before they can be improved.
I'll pull that picture out of my jacket because I'm sure Oliver's rushing up at me like he has. Well, he's hobbling up towards me as he has in the past.
He's doing that walk that's like power walking but trying to disguise it. I thought I said that you're not supposed to be up here, It's not for your kind.
Funny
It's
thing
all
you
right.
should
He's my
mention
guest.
My kind. Do you know what this is a picture of?
It seems to be a badly overdone picture of who cares? It was messed up. It should be thrown out and tried again.
It's amazing because that's not actually what it is. A photographer pointed his camera up at the night sky, except he managed to catch an area of the sky that had no stars in it. It's all black because that's all that's in the sky. It's a reminder to me. It's been that way for a very long time. that I am not a creature of flesh and blood and bone and sinew. I am a creature of light and sound and a creature of magic. And now it is time for you to cease to be. And I will touch Oliver on the sides of his head and disintegrate him as I'm releasing the touchstone.
So you're gonna he's holding your picture, and you're gonna disintegrate him along with the picture.
Yeah.
That's one way to release a touchstone.
Yeah, you're a demon, all right. They're not even supposed to be evil, but just chaotic.
I rolled a 5. You have to let go of the past, you realize. That's the only way to go forward.
Yep. You break the shackles of your past, and you do what needs to be done. Give a touchstone to someone who needs to be rid of it, who needs it, or rid yourself of another way that brings closure. Gain 1 contemplation, remove all momentum from the touchstone, and reduce all attached traits by 1 rank. So, it happens like you say. You hand it to him. The Doctor and the Clockwork Ghost, we see this from your point of view at this point. We switch over to your point of view. You see the Hour of Devastation. You don't know his name. You just know him as a man in a cheap business suit. Could be anyone.
Well, I had dinner with him before.
True. I don't know if they told you his name, though.
No,
Or,
but he's the man. He's the watchman. And I held up. He gave
Yeah.
me this.
So he hands the picture to Oliver, who looks down at it and scoffs, like visibly, in that pompous ass way that he has. And as the hour speaks, you can see Oliver just like, you know, his disbelief and incredulity and like, I completely do not believe what you are telling me kind of stuff is written all over his face, and he's drawing himself up, poppycock, just about to deliver some blistering ultimatum about how, this is clearly Tommy Rot, and you are just speaking out of both sides of your mouth, and you've drunk too much. I can smell the whiskey on your breath. But the hour, who you would have sworn he wasn't this tall, but he is, just reaches straight across and puts his hands on both sides of Oliver's head, who looks for a second confused, like he's no idea what's going to happen, and then a light so bright that everything looks dark, like you put on sunglasses afterwards, flashes through the cabin. And it's only a blink, like a camera flash or whatever, and it somehow doesn't leave spotty after images, like it was everywhere simultaneously all at once, without having a point of origin that would burn itself onto your retinas. But it did manage to dilate your pupils, and as it, you see that in the dim and darkness, the owl with his hands out. I can't put my hands out any further. My camera's going to get wonky on me again. And there's nothing in between them, just a fine mist of dust, and it's not like the kind of dust you'd find on like if you ran your hand along a mantle or something like that and it hasn't been cleaned in a while. It's the kind of dust that you'd see in like a tomb, the inside of a tomb, where a body used to be, but so much time has passed that there isn't anymore. Not even bones.
Then I will pick up his drink and finish it.
It's surprisingly cheap vodka.
Why am I not?
No, excuse me. Surprisingly cheap gin. Pardon me. He is a gentleman.
God,
Well,
I've been to do that for days.
Okay, how do you react to this, Chris?
She doesn't really jump because she's not really designed for that, but she is just sort of looks a little like did I miss
Pocket
something? She looks at the pocket watch, looks at the man.
I think I'm going to take a walk.
Did what? So she's got that kind of robotic does not compute.
Would you like to walk with me while we think about this?
What? Very well. She's still just sort of looking at the pocket watch and looking at the man, and was that necessary?
I'm not certain it was. I'm not quite sure I know what happened there.
So the two get up and walk out, and the hour is left alone in the first-class cabin with the remains of a meal, stone cold remains of a meal sitting on one table where Oliver was, and the genteel, the fading gentility of the first class cabin around him. General, what would you like to do?
In the interest of moving things along, the lady doctor did an event, correct?
No, she declared a stop.
Oh, you
Initiate
declared a stop. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I didn't do anything.
Oh, so we stopped. Okay. But
We're going to be
We're
stopping
going
at
to
the end
stop
at the end of this round.
Okay. If I declare an event, what follows? Because I don't have a particular event in mind.
So if you declared event, the thing about revelations is that seekers and demons are supposed to design the stop or event. They can spend momentum on them to alter them in certain ways, making them more inimical to the other side or more beneficial to the seeker, depending.
Mhm.
And the way events work, it would normally be resolved by rolling in to a stop, but since we're already coming to a stop, you declaring an event now, I would say would probably come into play after the stop. But I do want you to describe what the event will be, so that we know what starts happening after the stop.
Right. There are tables for this?
There are tables if you would like, or you can make up your own. If you would like a specific scene with the seeker to help them along.
And if you think about what kind of lesson you want to tell the seeker.
Yes.
I'm drawing a blank.
I'd also like to remind everyone we started about 15 minutes late, so if we want to go to like 10:15, I'm okay with that, if everyone else is okay with that.
I'm
Yeah,
okay with it, but I think I'm still going to be better off rolling randomly than trying to jog inspiration.
All right, I will go ahead and. Do you want to roll or shall I? It's up to you.
Go ahead and roll.
There we go. Me jingly dice. All right. So I rolled a 3 and a 6. In what order do you want them?
Oh, let's have the 6 and then the 3.
6 and then 3. Okay. So all somewheres are home to something. Recently, the hexagonal pits dotting the landscape have become a somewhere. The kaleidoscopic gases rising from them have attracted buzzard-necked owls who peer into the purple and razzmatazz swirls. Plague doctors rouse them from their perches with sprays of fallow-colored gas. This somewhere is new enough that there are no rumors to guide you. What is known is this: both the doctors and the owls watch the pits. Occasionally, a bird will speak and a doctor will hoot. Some see shapes in the gas, but reports are conflicted. Are they visions or new realities? Or perhaps the gas is simply a mild hallucinogen.
So that's basically what's at the stop in addition to the train stockyard, correct?
No, we'll roll into the train stockyard, and then after that, we'll start rolling through a landscape of weird hexagonal pits.
Okay, that works.
We're not both GMing at the same time.
Good.
That would be
Good.
awkward.
Yeah. So we roll into the stockyard. It's a pretty big place. There are lots of old trains, new trains, trains under repair, trains that are just rusted hulks, barely left more than the outer shells, and even then, not much. Switches, shuttle, engines, and train cars back and forth. There's a whole line of cabooses. You see passenger cars, possibly with passengers still in them. There's freight cars by the thousand, coal cars, water cars, pusher and miniature pusher engines, larger long hauls. Every kind of train and train adjacent kind of car is here, switching endlessly.
There are also engines of all sorts of descriptions. There are engines that operate for coal and diesel. There are engines that operate through spring power, having been wound up. There are even engines with strange designs that seem to operate in some futuristic manner that perhaps we are aware of and perhaps we are not.
Somehow the maglev ones are still using the same rails as everybody else.
Of course.
Yep.
All right.
Magnets.
The Lady Doctor is the GM for this stop. It is a revelation. You
know,
have some choices for modifiers.
do I still make actions during this? I think I do.
Yes.
That's what I
I
thought.
will say for the sake of time that the cause trouble action is not available, so there's just one for everybody. But for your revelation, you have the option of honoring the past, increasing or decreasing the danger, adding a keepsake, or using Demon Bane. Each one costs 1 point of momentum for each time you do it.
Yep. Is that an action or is that just something I'm doing as GMing?
That's something you're doing as GMing as we roll into the station. It's your choice to do it now.
Sure. So, well, actually, so Priscilla, what traits do you have?
Well, I still have the silver gear ring, which has 2 momentum on it, and the perfume bottle, which I told you about, which is always maintain appearances. I have an idea for what I want to do with that.
Sure. So why don't you? Let's add. I have 3 momentum to spend.
Mhm.
So let's add. I'm going to add a keepsake to the. I don't know how people get keepsakes when you add one because of course they normally have a keepsake, but I'm adding an extra one. It may just be that there are 3 keepsakes associated with the event, with 2 keepsakes rather. So sure, I'm going to say that your perfume bottle gets +1 after encountering this.
Oh, okay.
That's 1 momentum. Let's drop the danger down. The danger is still basically provided by 1 weird and strange machines and potentially seeing the past and the future mixing, but also mechanics. But let's drop it down to 2. And especially since we don't have a lot of time here. And I'll add a keepsake.
So that's 2 keepsakes, or no? Okay, so yeah, a specific trait. So always keeping up appearances gains 1, +1. The danger is now 2, and the keep.
And let me look at the keepsake chart for a moment. I have a keepsake chart.
It's not like a keepsake chart, no.
Let's see. I was also really liking bracing, but sure. I can be super derivative if anybody else can. So in the train yard, someone will probably find a tiny miniature train engine, which will give them a rank in let's call it a rank in tiny helper. I can be super derivative.
Sure.
I don't know if anybody has seen Girl Genius aside from Lisa.
Oh, not in a
Yes.
while. I get it. Where did you all come from?
This was filed under H for toy.
Where did you all come from?
All right, let me have it. All right, you are the GM.
Sure. So does anyone want to do something here?
I would like to try and let go of a touchstone.
Sure.
So as I get off the train and I start looking at all the trains, and there are all the trains, and like I said, the future and the past are mixing together in weird ways. She comes up to this what seems to be a solar powered train engine, but the people working on it are styling it in the manner of an old fashioned coal. They're basically steampunking it.
Right.
Where it could basically look like anything if it's solar powered. It doesn't actually need this or that or to look like it's a steam engine, but that's what they're building it to look like.
And the solar panels are placed are curved a little bit so they look like the metal outside of the train engine.
Right. So she kind of sees this and thinks about what she said about the past creating the future, but she's like, I don't know if this is quite what I had in mind. But then she kind of looks down and takes out of her pocket the perfume bottle, which is the trait always maintain appearances. And she kind of just discreetly open, like she already knows where there are some panels and there are some crevices, because this, being solar powered, it needs a lot less stuff in it than a steam train. So there's all this empty space in there. So she just sort of takes her little perfume bottle and kind of finds a catch and opens basically an empty compartment. Because there's all this. It's like when you're putting a tiny like LCD screen inside of one of those big old-fashioned 50s TVs, which people like to do, which is cool, but there's all this empty space in there. So just sort of puts, carefully and respectfully puts her little perfume bottle in there and closes the door and is like, I think you will need this more than I do. But good luck.
Roll.
Okay. And I roll a 9, so...
What dice?
Ugly
What
break.
specifically are your dice?
A 4 and a 5.
Ooh, that's tough.
So I can spend a keepsake to re-roll... I can't spend the trait always maintain appearances to re-roll when I'm
Correct.
giving it away.
Correct. It takes a keepsake.
Okay. So I'm going to use the heightened energy levels trait I just got to re-roll the 5. And now it's a 2, so it's a total of 6.
You break the shackles of your past and do what needs to be done.
So
It's good enough.
it pains you, although not enough to actually leave a wound. But you are able to put it into the train and walk away, feeling yourself mentally, even if not physically yet, smelling more like yourself and less like the scent of rose and somebody else's motor oil with every passing step.
Well, I smell like my own motor oil.
You also, as you're walking away, just come into find yourself in front of a storehouse train that's listed, with toys. Help me! Help me! Says a voice.
Oh, that's right. So 2 to 6 is I gain 1 contemplation.
Yeah.
You do gain contemplation. Yeah.
Lose all momentum on the thing and reduce all traits on it by 1.
Okay, which means 0, but...
But I also got a keepsake, and I might as well give it to the seeker because, reasons.
True, but...
Also, it's thematically appropriate.
True. Just, but the general and the operative station also get actions during...
Yep.
Do you want to wait for them to do their actions before you reward
Let's do their
the
actions and let's cycle back for the beast.
So someone will find the magic shiny thing.
So
I also get actions, but
is engaging the event a thing that one can
yes.
do?
Oh,
Yes.
rather it's there's another word for it. It's
Seizing
not.
opportunity.
It's the same thing.
Seizing the opportunity.
Yes.
That thing.
Seizing the opportunity is totally a thing you can do.
Okay, so does it work the same way that engaging with the event is?
It is an opportunity to make a trait check to lower the danger while interacting with the stop. So what are you doing?
I'm walking up and down in the area around the trains, looking at the trains, basically talking to the people working on them, discussing which are the ones that were used during the war, possible changes they might consider making in the future, changes, if there are future wars.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this train wasn't this wasn't used as a depot during the wars, but it's not really what we're for. The army the base is sometime down the road. This is a peaceful stop. A depot.
Maybe
Not
it
an
could be a
hour
no
depot.
man's land, a place where people can come if they need to rest from the war. A place.
I mean,
acknowledged as a truce area?
Possibly. You should roll.
Double fours.
Mixed success.
Mixed success, yes. Do you wish to spend anything in order to... oh, there's one rule that we forgot. Do we want to use it? Which is that whenever you roll doubles on a trait action, you gain a momentum on the trait in question.
That's only if you reroll.
Is only
I believe.
reroll? I thought it was a... Okay.
I thought it was just on the reroll. Like if you accidentally reroll and you get it,
I can use a keepsake to reroll. Is that correct?
yes.
Or should I be using a trade? I don't know how this works.
So it depends.
Yeah, it's rolling doubles after using a trait to reroll earns momentum on the attached touchstone.
Got it. Okay.
So it's you roll doubles, but only afterwards that it comes out as a double.
Got it.
Okay, so
So if you have traits, using traits, this is what traits are for.
I'm going to use my deep sense of responsibility. I want there to be some sanctuary for soldiers during the war.
Yes. Keep in mind that if you don't have momentum, you may want some momentum, so that you can use it on your revelation.
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm just saying,
No, I hadn't realized that. Okay, so I can, for a mixed success, do what I want to do and gain a momentum?
2 momentum.
2 momentum.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to gain 2 momentum on the military jacket. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Some of these trains probably used to be soldiers, and many early wars were won because of train tracks.
And fought because of train tracks. The railway wars. Fights between between the various different railway lines.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, yes, I'll gain momentum because I am using my sense of responsibility and my rank as the general to convince them that a place of sanctuary would be.
Sanctuary sounds good, yes. Yes, perhaps we should organize ourselves a little bit more and make sure that war never comes here. That this can be a place for trains and for people to think about their lives, and not a place for war.
I think that would be a good thing.
The train's this stop's danger is now 1.
It is.
Remember, you only get the keepsake if the stop is reduced to 0.
Yep.
And I think only those who interact with the stop have a chance of getting the keepsake?
No, anybody else.
No.
But it's random. And you do get your own action if you so choose.
Yep.
But my action is done.
Zardos, you have something you want to do, or should I do something?
All right, go ahead and do something. I'll find something creative to do in a minute.
Sure. Sure. I will. I hear talking about the making this a place of safety, and so I start spiritedly talking with the engineer about how maybe if you put a small hospital here, it could be a place for people to take care of people of trains' bodies, but also of people's bodies. And in so doing, you could sort of join taking care of the flesh and care of the metal. Rather like my friend over there, who I think is in ways a combination of flesh and metal.
La la. Trains.
Well, I don't know. We do have a lot of train materials here, but I don't know that we have enough for any kind of hospital, as it were.
It's true. But if people keep trying to hybridize the two, you may need somebody who can take care of this stuff. I mean, I don't have time. I'm a little too busy right now, but I'm sure at some point you can attract, if you attract one doctor and get them to start a hospital, I'm sure you can build stuff. You have plenty of parts here. I will roll some dice. So that is a 9. I've already used my momentum, but that's okay. Yeah, that said, I've still got a lot of points. So sure, I will spend my strength facing authority to reroll. And reroll again. Hello, dice. I'm not going to count that, even though I like that dot roll. And reroll a third time.
Smoke
There
him
we
if you
go.
got him.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
We're
what
on-
those numbers are for.
And we're on a stop. Yeah, smoke him if you got him. Works on so many levels.
That gets me to 10.
All right, that's a success.
Yes, it is. It reduces the danger to 0.
It does. Well, I think we can do it. I know the Railmaster has some people in, the Quartermasters and that kind of thing. We can definitely start moving supplies through here as well, on the regular supply chains. And he nods agreeably and starts going and talking to some other people dressed in engineers' coveralls, with the stripes and the stripy overalls and, engineers. I don't have my engineer hat anymore. I'll be wearing it. Believe me.
It's down to you, Zardos.
I will take the rest action since now that is available as the danger's been reduced to 0.
It has.
All right.
Something
You did it.
happened. None of you see what it was, but it was amazing.
It's like
A
being
quiet
back in
scene.
I
Palimpsest.
want to know what happened. As the GM running this part of the game.
A
quiet
palimpsest
scene.
moment. Sorry.
It's a quiet scene. The Outer Station has no more touchdowns, so he walks out into the stockyard. It's alive. The whole place is alive with the noises of machinery and stuff. But you know who you were, what you were. And these people have no idea. They've never seen anything like you, and they probably never will.
Oh, not until I come back around again.
Perhaps. But
That's
it's the very opposite of the mortifying ordeal of being known. And for someone like you, who is recognized wherever they went, not always for good things, it's relaxing. Your past doesn't follow you here. So you lose, I think it's either 1 or 2 momentum.
Sweet. I'm down to 0 momentum. Go team.
When I did it was 1 momentum, but I don't know what changes in the second leg.
Remove 1 momentum, sorry.
Sweet. I'm down to 0 momentum.
Fair enough. And you all gather back onto the train as it rolls slowly out of the stockyard, refueled, full of water once again, and ready to face a field full of hexagonal holes?
So did anyone pick up that touchstone?
So I think we need there are 2 keepsakes at this stop.
Or not touchstones. Did anyone pick up the keepsake?
Keepsakes.
We should roll.
Yeah, that's on you.
Yeah.
Roll d4 to see who does.
Sure.
Usually random unless you want it to be otherwise.
Yep. I'm gonna roll for one of them, and then we'll see for the second one. Sure. Weirdly enough, I rolled 1 and 2. I was rolling on D8, so it was a 1. So yes, in the toy car, you find a voice crawling out, and then inside there is a tiny train.
Who does?
You do.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. On my screen, Clockwork Ghost is the first screen. It's actually true on the shared screen as well.
So is it, help me. What? Who said that? With words? Does he say it with words or with machine noises?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because it's me.
It's true.
I think he actually uses words, and that's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to use words, or are you? Are you like me? So she finds
Like
this.
me.
this tiny little toy train, who is still somehow a fully functional train in miniature. And he's just like, "Hello, would you like to come to the Crystal City?"
Seems much better than being mistaken for a toy. I am a great and powerful train who has been reduced to a very tiny size.
Oh, by technology, or thinking back to what happened in the dining car, in the first class car, magic?
I do not entirely understand it myself.
Okay, well, we'll figure that out. And she kind of, I'm sure she has like a little purse. He's too big to fit in a pocket, so she puts him in her purse, but now like leaves the top open so he can see. And now she's got a pet.
Yep.
Tiny train.
And it would normally have a keepsake anyway, I believe. So I'll roll again. Ignore 1 and 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 5. So, Merc, do you want to make up keepsake for this one?
Okay.
It goes to the general.
The general. Okay. So the general spent the stop at the stockyards talking to the railway engineers.
Mhm.
Gonna focus again.
It's okay, we know it's you.
Yeah. So speaking to them takes most of the time of the train stop, but on your way back to the train car, you have a bit of time to yourself to think and remember, and it's not your first time going through a train yard. The army used hundreds, if not thousands, of train depots during the war, and you went through a fair number of them as a general. And there was just this sense of familiarity about the place that stuck with you. You haven't been to this one before, but one train yard is very similar to another train yard. There are trains, and it's a yard. Stretching, people yelling. The noises are very similar, even for the weird trains from the future and the old trains from the past. Like, there's a certain amount of comforting familiarity because if you're on a train, on a depot, you're probably not being shot at because
Probably.
the depots, unless they're under direct fire, you would not be passing through them. You would be defending them, probably entrenched several miles away to keep the enemy from blowing them up. So if you're at a train depot, you're safe, and it's that sense of familiar kind of longing for safety that sticks with you.
What does it do?
It keeps real fast. But I think for this particular one, it makes the most sense that it is bracing. It prevents the next point of damage the traveler would take.
Oh, what does Tiny Train Friend do as a keepsake?
It provides a little help. So you have a tiny helper as your trait. And that's a 1-point trait that you can use to reroll things.
Yeah.
Because that makes the most sense for getting a pet.
Okay.
And so, we pull away from the station into a land of hexagonal holes.
And owls and
And
plague
owls
doctors.
and plague
Owls,
doctors.
Long necked owls.
Buzzard owls that speak, and plague doctors that hoot.
Yep. And is there a danger factor already attached?
Even
3.
if there wasn't one, it would always be 3 because this is Revelation.
Okay, 3 is fine. And I have 2 momentum.
Should I bring up the chart? Or do you have
I'm
it up?
looking at the chart.
Okay, good.
Okay. I'm not quite sure how Honor the Past works for that.
As soon as the event is encountered, the Seeker gains a +1 to a trait on a touchstone that they still possess.
Okay, yeah, because I did want to invoke Honor the Past. That seems a very general thing to do.
Okay, would that mean my mechanic skill goes to 2, or I fill in another trait box?
It means it goes to 2.
Okay.
Right. And because I can, I'm going to use another momentum to decrease the danger by 1 point.
2 danger.
Yeah. That puts me out of momentum. So who wants to go first?
Sure. Oh, that's dry, isn't it? Yeah. I will head one last time
Josh,
back.
eat the mic. Or
Thank
turn
you.
yourself up.
I wasn't very far away from the mic, but all right. Oh, it turned sideways. Is that better?
That's so
Yes.
much better.
Yes.
Yes. This is the kind of mic you talk to the side, not to the front. And I was and somehow it got turned.
Oh.
Sure. I will head one last time through the first class car, and I will attempt to leave the beautiful pen that I've been holding on to by where Oliver used to be, as I head out to the first class car to somewhere that does not have quite so many recent disquieting memories. Unless I can get, well, let's see. I have
Well, you did have
no,
a fair amount of momentum.
I have no momentum because I spent it all. But it did have momentum at one point. However, annoyingly, that's a 10. Now I can, however, that good meal shared.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just mark that used, and I will re-roll the 6. What number am I trying to reach here?
2 to 6 will get you change. 7 to 9 is an ugly break. 10 to 12, you can't get rid of it.
Yep. Sure. 7 ugly break is fine.
You get rid of touchdown above, but gain momentum on a different touchdown. If this is your final touchdown, get rid of it and take a damage.
So how many touchstones do you have at the moment?
I had 3. I'm giving one away.
And what are your remaining touchstones?
The old carpet bag, and quite a lot of money. I think I'm gaining money. I'm gaining momentum on the. I haven't gained money on the money yet, so I'll gain momentum on the.
Okay, so you put the pen down where Oliver used to sit before he got disintegrated.
Yeah.
And as you do, you remember just how expensive that pen was, and if you're gonna put that down now, you're certainly gonna need the money.
Yep.
But you can get rid of that pen, and getting rid of it and getting rid of Oliver at the same time, even if it makes you feel kind of dirty, you probably are just as happy to be rid of both of them, honestly. And you walk away from the car.
I do indeed. And my pen.
And your pen. Okay.
I would also like to try and give away my silver ring. What does it mean that, how does having 2 momentum on a touchstone...
Having 2 momentum on it means that you'll be forced to re-roll the lowest die.
Oh. Okay. But then can I reroll again by using a keepsake?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's no guarantee it'll come out higher, but...
Okay. Well, now that the mean man has been disintegrated, it is apparently safe to, walk through first class and back to the telegraph room, where Charlie is, hopefully better after being stabbed.
There are 2 genteel ladies speaking quietly in first class now.
Okay.
One of them offers you a kind smile.
I nod to them politely and keep walking. I don't want to interrupt them, but yes, this is first class is much nicer now. I guess this is progress. But did someone really need to get disintegrated for that? What? But
Maybe he was never here at all. Maybe he just wasn't here at all.
maybe.
Nobody was on this train who didn't need to be here. But maybe he didn't need to be here.
Maybe. But
Maybe he needed to be a pile of ashes, dear. Some people do.
for some people that is progress. I'm like, oh, okay. So she's gonna go to the telegraph room where hopefully Charlie is doing better after the stabbing that happened a few days ago.
I'm gonna let Mark keep Charlie.
Huh?
I'm gonna ask that you keep playing Charlie because he has a personality.
Sure thing. You get to the telegraph room, and Charlie is sitting there. He's wearing a different colored shirt, and he doesn't seem to have any bandages anymore.
Are you feeling better today? Sir?
I guess I am. I mean, at least I'm not any worse than I was yesterday. Now that's an improvement, at least.
Yes, that's definitely an improvement. So your job is always to listen to the telegraph messages, correct?
That's indeed my job. Keep the clocks running so that the train doesn't run nobody. Not that we ever do run anybody, but just in case.
Always better to be safe than sorry. Or so I have been told.
That's what I hear too.
I've had this ring helps me when I am trying to interpret the language of machines. I wondered if it might help you.
And roll.
Okay. A 2 and a 6.
So you need to re-roll the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's a 3 and a 6. But
Okay.
can I spend a keepsake?
Yeah.
To reroll? I would like to use ghostly protection.
If you've not used it before, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because she's trying to let go and accept that maybe this knowledge is inherent in her and she doesn't actually need this ring. Since the ghosts were really nice and called her a historian and told her she was wise, and she's like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So maybe I don't need this to do what I do. So so I'm going to re-roll the 6. So now it's a 4, which is a 7.
If I remember correctly, that's an ugly break.
It is an ugly break.
Would it be possible for me to re-roll with another keepsake, or is it just one per?
I think it's possible.
Use the keepsake.
As long as it's a different keepsake, yeah.
Yeah, because I can only use each one once, right?
Right.
Once, period,
and if you
then
don't use them by the time of the end, then there's no point in...
Yeah.
Yep. You can't use them on the epilogue roll.
So that doesn't quite work well enough, and then she just thinks about the wonderful feeling of buttery mashed potatoes, perfect consistency and salt, and remembers that, well, I'm a very special machine because I am powered by food.
Okay.
And I'm gonna... And now it's a 5, so 7 I think was my better roll. But
you don't have to keep rolling. You don't have to keep rolling the same die. You can roll the higher die down lower if you need to.
That's what I did.
That's what they would.
Okay.
Yeah. But how does somebody helping work?
The person trying to get rid of it takes the damage, and the other one is helping them in some way, whether it's wrestling it away from them, putting a comforting hand on their shoulder, to give them mental fortitude, or something. But whatever you do, it's going to hurt.
So the general comes up in the car and sees this, and gently puts his hand on your arm and
Her.
on her hand. Gently puts her hand on your arm and tries to lower your arm down with the ring.
All right, re-roll one more die
And take 1 damage.
and take a damage.
I do, or the general does?
You do.
Okay. And it's a 1, so now it's a 4.
All right,
Okay.
that's change. Gain 1 contemplation, remove momentum from the touchstone, and reduce all attached traits by 1 rank. So, you hold out the ring. You hold out the ring. And Charlie reaches out and takes it. Well, how about that? That's a nice ring we got there. I think it might just fit me. And he puts it on. And it does. It fits him perfectly, despite the fact that his fingers are definitely much stubbier than yours are. And he twists it and like, yeah, that does kind of remind me. And then he leans over and he starts writing something on a telegraph while clicking little telegraph,
Yay, I helped.
I think the general is going to try and take off her jacket and give it to Charlie. I do not know how well that will work, but she's going to try. And currently, I do not have momentum. I rolled a 6 and a 5. That's not likely happening, right?
The path is prepared, but you are not ready. The touchstone gains 1 momentum. So you reach up and you undo the buttons, the first couple of buttons, and you undo the buttons all the way down. And the jacket hangs kind of weird because it doesn't actually do buttons like this. It buttons kind of like this.
Yeah.
And so, you have to do that kind of awkward thing. But as soon as it flaps open, you feel exposed. But not like you dropped your drawers in the middle of a public place. More like you just took off armor in the middle of a war zone.
Who are you
Your
trying to
belly is open, and
Charlie. Yeah, and I can't do it.
And you
get?
just,
No,
you
although
can't. And you do your buttons back up.
Yeah.
Do you have
proper.
Yeah. No, I think it makes sense that the general just couldn't do it.
Yeah, so Charlie doesn't even notice the attempt. He's still playing with the ring and typing on his little clacks.
Okay, so I've done my action.
The event is still going on outside. It's still a Danger 2 event, I believe.
Yep.
Yes. You're mute, I think.
No, he's very quiet.
I'm sort of quiet, yes.
Oh.
So, Ghost. Share one last meal with me.
Oh, sure, okay. Okay. She's a little hesitant this time, but she's like, okay. She after hanging out with Charlie, she probably goes back to the main dining car and sits down and sees, Mr. Mr. Devastation.
You probably have a question, at least one that comes to mind.
Yes. How did you do that?
Oh, that's not the question I thought you'd ask. That question's far more boring than the one I thought you were going to ask.
Oh, I have more.
Okay. How simple?
Why did you do that?
Why is a much more interesting question. So, this story takes us back a few generations, let's say. A very, very small man in a very, very large community decided to be a very, very difficult human being to me. Caused no end of strife, no end of problems. The moral of the story is that I left that city to preserve peace. And that man's descendants have been raging assholes the entire time because of my choice to leave. So,
wait, so they didn't want you in, or they were causing problems because you were in the town, and then you left the town, and they are still being awful.
Yes, because someone let them get away with it once. Never again. Never compromise, not even in the face of absolute destruction.
So they would not change. They would not.
They were so stuck in the past, so stuck in their traditional ways of doing things that they were so ensconced in their power that why would they change? There was no reason to.
So they refuse to evolve. They
Correct.
refuse to progress.
Yes. As to the other part, I used magic to separate his atoms at the molecular level, and then time just carried the rest of the process through the to its conclusion.
Oh, I know very little of magic. I have heard the term as a concept. I'm told by many sources it was fictional, but I suppose not now.
Well, by the same token, there are many people who think that a clockwork mechanic who walked, talked, ate food, and had its own soul would also be a fiction. We are our own legends.
Perhaps. Do I have a soul?
As far as I know, I haven't gone looking for it.
How would I know?
Do you think you have a soul?
I do not know. What are the parameters? What are the side effects?
Side effects. Do you care about other people?
Yes.
Then I would venture you have a soul.
Oh. Well, that's nice.
Isn't it, though?
Huh.
Now, you're coming up to a choice that you'll have to make soon. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that after we get to our next stop. But I have faith that you'll make a choice. Whichever choice you make is up to you, though. I can't make it for you. Neither can anyone else here.
Indeed. That is the way of things. If I could not make my own choices, I would not have left home.
Very, very, very true. Hold on to that thought. You'll need it again.
Very well.
Yes, fairly quickly and quietly. So,
All right. Dear Clockwork Ghost, your keepsake is food for thought. And the Hour of Devastation, your keepsake is hope for the future. Just a bit.
So mechanically at this point, we need one more revelation and an epilogue, and we're up to 1023.
Right. We're still in your revelation, technically.
Yeah, but your revelation will be wrapped up once we come to another stop, which would probably be Zardoz's revelation.
which I will be declaring as the first action of the next round is that we're heading for a stop.
Excellent.
So the rest of you can sort out this event that I don't want to interact with.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Because Plague Doctor said, yeah, I'm gone. You guys have got me. I'm out.
Nope, that's too creepy for me. We'll be back at the finale. Bye.
I've had enough issues with doctors.
Oh, this is scary. We'll see you at the end, folks.
Okay,
Sure.
so do we have enough time to do all of that?
I don't know. How much time do we have? But
We could keep
I'm
going.
good.
I'm good. I don't have anything
going.
to do after this. That's fine.
I will ask for a 5-minute bio break then.
I mean, can we do the so what else has to happen?
Actually, I can just run to the bathroom while y'all keep going. It won't take me that long.
Yeah, you already took your turn, so okay.
Yeah,
Actually, we're still at the top of a new start of turns. But I can definitely keep going.
I can still
And
Did
run
the
to
lady
bathroom and
did
y'all
the
can
lady
do-
doctor go this round?
yeah, I was
Yes.
we're still in the second round. Lady Doctor not go second round if we're in the second round.
Yeah, you
Right.
you
I-
haven't
I-
gone
I-
with.
The first action in the second round is to declare a stop, and that's Zardoz.
Well,
So
no. I mean, with the revelation of the plague doctors, has the lady doctor gone yet?
Yeah, they got rid of the pen.
Yeah,
Oh, they got rid of the pen. That's right.
I got rid of the pen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the
got rid of the
shared
pen,
meal was
got rid of the
was-
ring. Shared a meal. Tried and failed to get rid of the jacket. So first action of the second round, declare a stop, which would be the last revelation, and then everyone else gets to go
Okay.
one more time before we hit the stop.
Okay.
If you don't resolve the event by the time you hit the stop, it will be resolved. Because the danger is currently less than the number of travelers, it will just be resolved.
Okay.
But if you decide to resolve it yourself, there is a keepsake in it for you.
Mhm.
But it's your choice. You can
Okay.
you do not have to interact with it. You do not have to resolve it. It will be resolved.
Yeah, I feel bad because Lisa's revelation was more kind of the backdrop of all this other stuff. And it's like, everything's creepy! This is a creepy place!
Well, that's what happens when you roll for your revelation rather than
It's
coming
a
up
new
with something
place.
like this.
It's a
You
new
know?
place.
It's a new place. It's a new somewhere. Specifically, all somewheres are home to something.
Oh, that's right. This is so new that there isn't anything about it on the
Atlas, yeah.
atlas or the
Almanac.
um or
Atlas.
Charlie. Charlie is not getting any messages about it. There's no telegraph messages.
Yeah, no warnings.
So for my action,
All right, what did Zardoz declare for?
He's declared his revelation to be a stop, which will be the start of the next turn. The last revelation will be one more stop. But you each, you and the general have one more train action you can do before you hit that stop, and
Okay.
this event is resolved.
Okay.
right. So I think Clockwork Ghost that we've actually met before.
Oh. Have we? Where?
I think so. When someone very dear to you was passing away, they called me in to try to help them.
Oh, my engineer. My mechanic.
And as you speak, the scene fades, and we fade in to it's not a very lush bedroom. The bed is not very big as far as beds go. It's somewhere between queen and twin size, but you get the feeling that this is before, standardized bed sizes. The mattress is goose down. The pillows are also feather, and there's a pretty large duvet pulled over the man from your first vision of what I knock over. I'll figure it out later. Of the man with the gray hair. His face is sunken. He's so thin you can count every bone in his wrists. His fingers are knobbly, and he seems to be shivering, even with the heavy duvet over him. There's a fire roaring in the grate of the room. There's no paintings or pictures hanging from the walls, but one particular section seems to be devoted to corkboard and schematics. It seems to have not been touched in a while. You are there, Clockwork Ghost, and the lady doctor is there, standing by the bed with the patient's wrist in hand. The doctor's carpet bag is sitting on the bed between you, and you are twisting your gear ring in worry. Like, at least you're pretty sure it's worry. You can't seem to stop twisting the ring, but you don't really have a name for this feeling. You've never felt it before, anyway.
Sorry, I've done
not before he got sick.
But
no, but
say what you can to him. He'll be gone by tomorrow.
No, but you have to fix him. Every problem can be fixed.
I wish that were the case. I really, really do. But he will be gone. But you will remain, and you can carry a part of him, your memories of him, wherever you walk.
But no, this is not how this works. It's if a part breaks, you replace it. If too many parts break, you use the old parts to build a new construct. There is you build new on the pieces of the old.
And in a way that is the way the world works. He will pass from us and will be buried or burned or eaten by birds. And they will make something new, what was left of him. But the him that was him will be gone, except in our memories. Those will remain.
But what happens if my memory ceases to exist? What if I stop because he is not here to fix me?
That is a very good question. But I hope you will also leave memories behind. Nothing remains forever.
Well, no, but it changes, but it does not end.
And it stays the same, but never quite exactly the same. Things are lost and do not come back, and new things form in their place, and they are not the same. But some of those things are good.
She just looks completely at a loss. Like, this has not happened. This is very much, again, do not compute. Does not compute.
I know it'll take some time for you to understand. But the only way to deal with loss is to bring that loss with us and try to turn it into something new. Because the loss will happen, has happened. Go talk to him. Maybe say what you need. He can hear you now.
Head mechanic, can you hear me? You are not responding.
Coughs wetly.
I thank you for building me, but I will continue the workshop. I don't know what else to do. I can make that into something different and better, but I don't know. I don't know if I can do that alone. But you will be in my memories, so will I really be alone? But then what do I do if I stop and there is no one to fix me?
You weren't looking at him, or at least you were looking more at his face, looking for some sign of recognition. So it comes as something of surprise when his knobbly hand reaches yours sitting on the bed with the ring and just sort of closes over it. It's very weak, but it's a grip. And we fade out as he holds your hand, the one wearing the ring.
All right, so what traits do we get out of that?
Do each of those touchstones have 2 traits already?
Mine certainly doesn't.
Okay, and your ring?
My ring I gave away, but I still have 1 trait of mechanic skill, but I'm not sure.
That's fine. You don't need to still have the
Oh, that's right.
to gain a trait to gain a trait on it. It just needs to have a trait slot available. It's just the new trait starts at 1 instead of 2, and then you gain 2 points to distribute among the traits on that item as you choose. So, I think for you,
yeah, the first trait is mechanic skill, so the second one is
an understanding of loss, I think.
For me, a sense of comfort. I don't know.
I think an appreciation for memories.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's going on the old carpet bag, of course.
Yep.
And
that was a shared flashback, so that was you two's turn.
And that's for 2 traits?
So you get 1 new trait at level 1, and then you get 2 points to distribute on that touchstone as you choose, even if you no longer have it.
Okay, so I get 2 traits.
2 trait ranks.
Okay.
Yep.
Cute.
All right, I believe General is the last one to go in this turn.
Yeah, and I think the simplest thing to do is engage the invent.
Okay. So,
So, I head to the back end of the train since we're going through this area and look out at the various owls and plague doctors um, and see if I can negotiate getting some. If it's the fumes that are a problem, see if I can negotiate getting some masks for the passengers. If there is actual sickness going around, see if I can get medicine. Um, which
as you get to the caboose, it was something of a negotiation to get here because getting through the luggage cars isn't the easiest. They stack them pretty much solid, so you kind of
mm,
had to work your way around.
right,
But the caboose itself is clear. There's there's nobody in there, but there's a little Bunsen burner and a tea kettle on it, like there could be. The Bunsen's off and the tea kettle is cold currently, but if you wanted a cup of tea, you could have one. As you walk out onto the back fence, the little section at the back of the caboose that's beyond the door where you can just step out and look. You step out to find two of the buzzard owls already sitting on the railing. Buzzard
tea.
owls?
I say to the owls,
Buzzard necked owls, sorry. What'd you say?
tea.
What do you say, T? What do you say? Shut up. Yes, please, thank you. We'll take some tea.
I will heat up the water and make sure that the tea is at least warm before I give it to them.
Um, they awkwardly grip the teacups in their claws and kind of dip their beaks in for a bit. You know, hey, this is some good tea, huh? Shut up. Thanks very much for the tea.
I was wondering what comes through in those pits.
The future. No, it's the past, it is. That's what you think.
I think the general leans forward to say, and is that where I would roll?
Yes, go ahead and roll if you're going to look into one of the pits.
I rolled a 9, a 4, and a 5, if that matters.
That is a success, a basic success, I believe. Yes. Nothing fancy here. You did it. The danger decreases by 1. So you lean over to take a look into the pit, and as you do, the purple and razzmatazz swirl around your face, and you smell rectangles for a second. It's weird. But
Huh.
it doesn't seem to be harmful. And when you pull your head back, you're breathing a little easier than before. Like some of the, like a couple of years of smoking cigars has suddenly managed to roll itself away from your lungs. Like you haven't felt this good since you switched from cigarillos to cigars.
Huh. What an interesting place.
Danger's now 1. And with that, we roll into a stop. As you roll away, the desert slowly, the hexagonal pits, the two buzzard-necked owls finish their tea, thank you, hand you their cups, and fly away. The hexagonal pits slowly become more sparse until they stop. The plague doctors stay with them. Your lungs still are fine, though. By the way, you still pretty good about the lungs.
Well, I washed the cups up on my way back.
All right, and the stock rolls into a stop. Describe it. You're on mute.
No, not. Haha. Okay, so the stop is very, very, very unusual because the sand dunes have come up and they've come across the train track. But the sand, it's very weird. It's very strange. It has a different smell. It has a different look. It doesn't even actually look like sand, but it's something else that's just completely encapsulated this area, and it's blocked the train. And the engineer is sending out work crews to try and just dust it off, just so that they can get the train moving again. That's why you're stopped here. but you're literally in the middle of nowhere, just staring out at the vast expanse of not sand.
This is a danger 3 stop. Would you like to? You have no momentum to spend.
I have. Let me check. I think I have 1 momentum. Nope, I have no momentum. It's a danger 3 stop, baby.
It's a danger 3
Woot!
stop, and that's it.
Yep.
No keepsake, no reduction, no traits.
I think the Clockwork Ghost, with a lot to think about, kind of gets off the train just for a moment, so she's not gonna go far because there's nowhere to go. But she is curious about, like, what is the not sand? And she, like, kind of kicks it with her, or not so kicks it, but just sort of, you know,
Shovels
put,
around with your tongue.
yeah, shovels it around with her toe, puts her toe in it, like, is it like a silicate? Is it alive? Is it dust?
Well, as you look at it, you stare at it for a minute, and the realization hits you like a thunderbolt. You've seen this type of dust before. It was in the card. It was in the first class card. It's what Oliver turned into, and there are fields of it everywhere.
It's people!
It could be stuff, but it's a pretty good chance it was people.
Okay. Soylent dust is people!
Then the dust sort of swirls, and there's a little goblin just kind of sitting there looking at you. Tilts its head from side to side, and it goes, "Huh, I haven't seen you before. I'll be seeing you soon."
Where?
Everywhere.
Oh, okay. Did you make all of the people dust? I guess
No.
I'm seizing the opportunity since I'm
Engaging the event.
engaging the event.
Oh no, I didn't make this. I can't make this. But he does sort of wave one of its hands, and as it does, the way parts, and you can see there's a bright, shining pathway ahead of you.
Huh.
Now, this, and the goblin is just waving its hands frantically in the air like a Kermit the Frog, is the past. That, he's pointing at the shining path, is the future. Unburdened by everything you've run into, free to make whatever memories you wish, free to decide what you choose. The question then becomes, what do you want to do?
I've come a long way to go to the Silver City.
Crystal City.
Crystal City. So to go to Cerebos, I need to stay on the train.
Do you?
Yes. Yes, pretty sure I do.
Roads often travel in similar directions to similar places. Are you sure that the train will take you to where you need to be?
I believe it will, otherwise I would not have gotten on it. There were many stops on this train. I could have gotten off at any time to choose another destination or walk off on my own. But if my destination is Cerebos, I have to stay on the train.
But how do you know your destination is Cerebos? Roll the dice.
9.
9. That's the you succeeded number, if I remember correctly.
Yes, success. Nothing fancy here. You did it. The danger decreases by 1.
Excellent. The goblin sort of just rubs his little goblin hands together, which is really weird because they are like Kermit the Frog arms. He goes, perhaps the key is not what you think it is, or where you think it is. But you'll have time to make a decision later before you finally make your last choice. And the worst case scenario, you'll end up here with the rest of us. And then we will have more time to talk about this in the future, or the past. And the goblin disappears back into the dust.
Okay. I think she's just like, okay, I've had enough, and she gets back on the train. She's just like, okay.
All right. It is now a danger 2 stop, which means that the rest action has been unlocked.
But I can't take it because I've already
Done.
engaged. Yeah.
Right.
And seize opportunity, rest, release a touchstone, or use a conductor power.
Right.
Don't go out there. There's weird death goblin future past people out there.
Fair enough. Look, you're a young person, a young maid, and you have plenty of things you need to do. And I've done many things, and I've succeeded at some, and I've failed at far more. I think you need this more than I do. I say before I actually roll the dice on trying to give you all my money.
Good luck.
Cold hard cash.
How much
Just
perfume?
what every lady wants.
How many peaches can I buy for this? Okay.
Roll the dice.
Yep. Yeah, I'll take that. Unless someone wants to help. So that's an 8, which is certainly enough to give it away. One of them is a 6, so if someone wants to offer me a reroll and do damage to me, I'm willing to take it. Otherwise,
No keepsakes?
I have used the only keepsake that lets me reroll.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. I think she's gonna do similar to what the general did and sort of put her hand on the lady doctor's arm and say, I mean, if you're sure, I'm not as young as I look. But if you are sure you do not need this.
You're young at heart. I will reroll that 6. That brings it to 4. That's much better. I would take a damage, but since I have a certain satisfaction from Oliver's romances, I don't. From Oliver's comeuppance, rather, I don't.
Right.
It was a short affair.
Go ask the dust.
And I hand you an enormous amount of money created from my pockets.
Oh, that's right. It wasn't even. The carpet bag is a separate thing, so you don't just hand me the
Perfect.
bag. You hand me all this.
I don't
like,
just hand you the bag.
Y'all are in the first class car, right?
Sure.
You see Peter, the conductor, the first time you've seen him this entire route. Essentially, since, he comes at every stop or something, but you don't really talk to him much. But he comes out with a broom, and he just kind of sweeps the dust from the first class compartment out the door and closes it, and then goes back to his hidey hole.
And she's like,
You're young at heart, and you have so much to live for. Use this to make it to build whatever life you need to live.
Thank you. I do not sure I know how to do that for myself, but at least I can do it for other people also.
If there's anything I've learned, it's that when you're doing things for other people, the things you want to do for other people, you are doing them for yourself.
Oh, that makes more sense to me. Thank you. She kind of awkwardly puts it in her little pocketbook under her train friend. He's like, "Hey, what's this? It's soft. It smells weird."
All right, and I think the general will be the last to go. No, the general and then the hour.
Yep. I think
the hour also gets a chance to
take
direct.
a rest action.
Okay.
The general will get out, stretch her legs briefly, see the dust, and find it oddly comforting in some ways. Just all of it will eventually come to this. This should be horrifying, and yet it just isn't.
I mean, it's peaceful. There's no blood here, no guts, no children strewn across the landscape with their buddy's guts in hand.
Yes.
No blood, no gore, no explosions. The sky is clear blue. No soot and ash. You can't taste death in the back of your tongue. If this is death, it's a pretty quiet place.
Yeah. I can die with that.
If I got a deal for you. I will also take a rest action.
All right. Are you walking out in the dust, or?
Yeah, I'm walking out in the dust, and as I'm walking, the dust actually just blows away around me.
Nope, we're not dealing with that.
Nope.
It's known you once, it doesn't need to know you a second time. But as it blows away around you, you're actually walking on the plain sand underneath.
Yeah.
Arcane the Sage said the Soylent is always greener in somebody else. Thanks, bro.
I mean, you haven't tried to mix with water to see if it turns into something edible.
Yes,
And
at
with
which
that, we
point-
get back on the train and head off again.
At which point I responded, "Is tea. You dream about getting sugar or somebody else to be."
All right. And with that, the conductor's peons have managed to clear the tracks enough for the train to continue. And continue it does. I believe that ends the second leg.
Looks like.
So,
Do we make it to Cerebros?
all right.
Well, maybe you make it to Cerberus.
Endgame. After each guide has shared a revelation, the train pulls into its final stop, Cerebos, the Crystal City. Cerebos is a danger to stop. Its keepsake is the memories you made along the way. If you GM the play the truth about Cerebos Solaris, everywhere since things included. Alright, so I'm going to reveal everyone's goals at this point. So, for everyone but the Seeker, what you're looking for isn't here. The train pulls away from the dust and travels for days, months, you're not sure. Time passes, that's definite, but you're not sure how much. But eventually you see it on the horizon. Beautiful, glittering, beyond your expectations. Cerebos, the Crystal City. As you pull up, you see how apt the name is. Spires studded with giant gemstones, or at least things polished up and colored to look like gemstones, and huge mechanical gates in the wall around the city. Word open slowly as the train pulls in. As you look around, people wearing all kinds of beautiful gems, wondrous mechanics, all these things. The train is probably the oldest and most well-worn mechanic that you see around, or at least well cared for. Everything here is shining. It's beautiful, and it's very mechanical, kind of oddly so. The city by the sea was nothing like this. So here are your goals.
We might need to read them.
All right.
Yeah.
For the smartly dressed woman,
Or the Lady
Here's-
Doctor.
Lady Doctor. I have it written down here as a smartly dressed woman. Sorry.
It was her original name. I changed it early on.
She was looking for a cure for her own broken heart. But she
Aw.
won't find it here. The people she's lost, the people she's failed to save, the love that war took from her. They don't hide in the shadows of these spires, and it's too much for you to think about to even stay here. The cure you're looking for, the pain you're looking to relieve, it won't be found here. So the general, hers was find a purpose in life beyond war. War has dogged your every step to Cerebos, and you still can't see yourself beyond it. Your metals shine in the sun, the sword clanks at your side. You are ready to fight still. And war, the end of war, the end of fighting, isn't here for you. Whatever you need, it isn't in Cerebos. So the Clockwork Ghost. She needs to rewind her clockwork heart. The key is in Cerebos. And sure enough, it's here. if it was anywhere, with all the clockwork things going on here, it would be in this place or something that would work in place of it. And the hour of devastation. The politician you met in the flashback, he never left you alone, not even after that. It was never enough for you to run away like he wanted you to, or for you to kill him as you did Oliver. But you were seeking justice for the man you were falsely accused of murdering. His blood on your hands, the police at your heels. You came to Cerebos to find justice. But the justice you seek is not that of the clockwork workings or anything like that. You will not find justice or absolution here. And now we roll on the epilogue table. So, Saints and Demons, you've guided the Seeker to the Crystal City, but what of your own story? Will it continue? It depends on the lessons you've learned and the influence you've had on the Seeker. First, the Seeker decides which argument is most persuasive, the Saints' path of steadfast stability or the Demon's uncertainty and change. So, Seeker, please choose.
Read that last bit again?
First, the Seeker decides which argument was the most persuasive, the Saints' path of steadfast stability and holding to the past, or the Demon's break from the past and the uncertainty and change of the future.
Oh, so this is about the revelations.
Yes.
Honestly, I think the Lady Doctor's revelation, or so wait, so it's the Lady Doctor's revelation was the train, or that was the players?
So the Lady Doctor's revelation was the train yard.
Okay.
But we can also push our arguments other ways, like, for instance, the meal you had with the hour and the flashback you had with the Lady Doctor.
Okay.
We're both very clearly attempts to push you.
Yes. Yes. And I think it was the Lady Doctor that was more effective in pushing her towards. It's like, yeah, I
right.
am the past, and the key is my future, and I am building a new future on the bones of the past.
All right.
And that whole theme started and kept going.
So, Saints and Demons roll 2d6. If you have any momentum, add another d6.
And the Saints will each add another +1. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
So, if you have any unspent momentum, that adds 1d6. All points of contemplation add 1. And Saints add 1 more because the Seeker chose your path.
So I rolled a 5. I had 1 for the contemplation and 1 because the Seeker went the Saint way for a 7.
Correct. Okay. And what did you get?
I rolled an 11, and I added 3 because the Seeker went my way, and I had 2 points of contemplation. So that's a 14.
Okay. And Zardoz?
I came up with a 13. So I rolled a 10, and I had 3 points of contemplation.
All right. So start with the general, who did not roll more than a 12. You are walking wounded. Your role as a guide has changed you. You gain a new goal, which modifies your previous one. Contentment is a ways away, but it can't be said that you haven't grown. So your journey doesn't end here. You're still on it, but the end is in sight. You know what you need. For the other two, contentment. You're actually in a good place. That's not half bad. This journey was good for you. Next time, you'll be the hero for sure. And the Seeker. Whether your companion stood or fell, you've made it. After the Saints and Demons have handled their epilogues, it's time for the main event. Is Cerebos what you were looking for all along? Can you reconcile your inner voice with the wicked world? It's time to find out. The epilogue rolls start with 2d6, but add 1d6 for each point of momentum.
I don't have any momentum left.
That's
okay,
good.
Just roll 2d6.
Okay. Do I want to roll low or high on this?
You want to roll low. but you're going to subtract 2 points from the final roll for each point of contemplation you have.
Okay. That is an 8. Do I get any? Oh no, I can't. Well, can I re-roll the epilogue? No. Okay.
No, there's no rolling the
okay.
epilogue.
Is that an 8 after you've subtracted the 2 points?
No. So then it's a 6.
All right. 7 or less. Self-actualization. You're able to see your past for what it was and adapt based on the reality of the present. Whether you follow your original goal or choose a different path, you've gained vital knowledge from your journey and emerged from the crucible ready for the future. The key is in Cerebos for you. You step off the train, and this is your place. These are your people. And strangely enough, in a little pawn shop off the main menu via road, big one.
Vista?
Boulevard, that's what I wanted. I'm sorry. You find a key. A very old, tarnished brass key. But you'd know your maker's work anywhere at this point. And sure enough, it fits your heart.
I'm sure it costs a bunch of money, but you have a lot of money.
Fortunately,
Luckily, I have all this money.
Yeah.
Tick, 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 tick.
And the journey to Cerebos is over for the Seeker. It may not... Cerebos wasn't the end for their friends, but it's the last stop on this train. They'll have to find a new one if they want to go somewhere else. And that is our show. I'm sorry it took so long.
Yeah, I think if we ever run this again, I'm not against it, but we'll need to like put up a month of episodes because this and we already truncated a lot of the levels, and this is a very satisfying role-playing game, but not a one-shot for a 3-hour set. Not quick. This is a long, slow banquet of role-playing and conundrums. So very fun, but yeah, not this might not, if you were watching it from your own Twitch channel, this may not be a one episode go.
Yeah.
I wonder what happens though if the Seeker decides that there are elements of both the saints and the demons that they like and they can't quite push
They flip a coin at that point, but it's whichever one was the most persuasive.
I mean, yeah, that would be an interesting house rule, is to have the Seeker be able to say to pick both or neither. But I'm not.
But house rule.
But it would definitely be a house rule. Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed this. This was a fun experience. Long but fun. So well, chat, thank you for sticking around with us. I'm sorry game took so long, but it's like, no, we don't want to just stop. Then we won't know the ending.
Exactly.
I find it interesting how like only one player gets to continue being the player, and the other 3 are effectively half GMs.
Half GMs, but we're still playing.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get rid of our keepsakes and touchstone.
Yeah, we were we were certainly still playing for our, and if we were not...
Josh's point about Bakano actually stands.
Oh yeah, no, Bakano was totally playable.
Bakano is a game of Cerebos.
Yes. If you haven't seen Bakano, it's this amazing anime that's hard to get. Well, you can get the first.
It is very violent.
It is very violent, and it has 3 different timelines plus flashbacks to earlier stuff that it alternates between. One of which is the one that's in the middle
journey
on the train.
A train.
Yes.
Link it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Can you spell it?
Baccano.
With an exclamation point.
Yes. Also, there are portions of it in New York, and there are places where they have clearly taken pictures from Chinatown and used them as inspiration.
Nice.
And Josh and I figured that if we were Bakano characters, we'd be Isaac and Miria. You will understand if you have seen it.
Yes.
All right. So next week, I guess we will be back in Eden. At least until I shove all y'all out into a new system full of space Argonauts instead of space Vikings. But chat, thank you for sticking with us. Next week, things will be more... normal is such a relative term. Even on a Twitch channel. But thank you, Merc, for running this. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was a blast.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Yay! I got to play a robot.
Yay!
I didn't even know it until the second half.
Well, I didn't know it for sure. I had a suspicion. I'm like,
I didn't know it either until I was given your secret goal. I'm like, oh, okay.
Guess she's a
I
robot.
knew.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm Ms. Chrysala on the social medias. I'm usually the GM here, but thank you, Mark, for being the GM for 2 weeks, because that was really nice, because I had my vaccine, and I'm going to get the next one on the week of the 5th, so May 8th, we are probably also going to do something that isn't Eden.
I'll
But-
see what we got in the way of one shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lady Susan.
And, but
We can
yes.
talk about that. Yeah.
So next week is May 1st, which will be Exit to Eden for one episode before I go back into vaccine spoony hell. The 8th will be something else. And then the 22nd will be the Dark Crystal, or the Thra Age of Innocence, which is a bit of a deep dive. 3,000 years, I believe, before, at least 3,000 years before the events of the movie and the TV show, or the series. And yeah, we've got to work that out while my brain can't work because vaccines. I'm just grateful to have the antibodies. But yeah, I'm Ms. Chrysala. I'm usually running things. It's great when I get to play, though. Yay! Thank you again. And let's do outros while I look for someone to raid. If there's anyone still... Oh, wait, there are California games. Are people still up? Merc, who are you when you're not GMing... GMing on a train.
I love trains.
Trains!
Hi, I'm Mark. I was the conductor for this in the last session. I don't really have anything personal to plug, but you should definitely watch the Zombie Orpheus Twitch channel. They have a special 48-hour event going on May 7th, starting at 6 o'clock on May 7th. And it's going to run for 48 hours straight. And it's a fundraising stream for Zombie Orpheus Entertainment to try and deal with the cost of the pandemic. So we're gonna try and raise as much money as possibly can. So show up if you can. It's gonna be, basically anything they can't get away with during the regular course of events. So it's gonna be wild. You should definitely show up.
So they're doing my idea for a fundraiser.
Essentially.
Yay! I'm glad. I'm glad I helped someone with my brain. I don't get to do that nearly that much anymore.
Josh.
Sure. So when I'm not on this, I'm Josh. You can find me various places. I don't normally go straight for the feels, but sometimes I do, and
Yes,
that was
you
really
do.
fun. Yeah, okay, fair, I do. And speaking of going for the feels, if you're looking for things to do, there's a fair amount of LARPing that has moved online during the coronavirus, which is kind of amazing because it gives you the feels of LARPing without the expense of going to a hotel and having to pay for somebody to rent space and all that stuff. And so I definitely recommend looking it up if you're interested in things, especially with feels.
Woohoo!
Zars?
Zardoz at Once a Future Doctor on Twitter. I have things in process. You might see them again in a couple of weeks.
Lisa Paddle. I've done editing work on 2 amazing books, Eldritch New England and Impossible Landscapes. They are beautiful. The authors, the layout people, they knocked it out of the park.
Are these available now?
Eldritch New England is totally available now from Golden Goblin Press in print and PDF. Impossible Landscapes is Arc Dream for Delta Green. Currently available PDF. I believe June is when the hard copy comes out. And I'm Lisa Paddle or DRC Punk, Dr. C Punk on all the various media.
And there should be a link to the Kickstarter for this game for Cerebos the Crystal City on our Twitter if you want to pick this up for yourself and have a nice long languid weekend weekend
It's,
train ride with your friend in make believe land.
It's the Kickstarter funded, which is why I have
Oh.
it, but it's on Drive-Through RPG.
Okay. Well, I've also linked to their to the publisher on Twitter, so you'll
Yep.
find them. If you want it, you'll find it. And we are
And
going.
thanks for making this, publisher. We had a blast.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was really fun.
So please make more games when you have the spoons again, because I'm sure this was a lot of work. So.
Oh, it still is a lot of work.
All right, so we are going to raid DJ Melting Girl, who is a fun gothic industrial DJ who's, you know, we're not on this late, so we don't usually get a chance to intersect with her. So yeah, raiders, go raid, go listen to some good musics. And apparently we've already gone.
Yep.
Okay.
Because there's a timer on it.
Oh,
In and out.
okay.